Chapter 2384. Zhao Fu did not try to sense it himself, and said, "Spirit Maiden, sense it and see if there's anything." For some unknown reason, there were many worlds in the star sea. Most of these worlds were dust worlds, which were similar to the human world, or even smaller worlds. Apart from dust worlds, it was possible to find some rare worlds or even half-celestial worlds. However, there were very few half-celestial worlds in the star ocean, as half-celestial worlds were higher-level worlds and would not stay together with dust worlds. In actuality, no matter what world they came from or what faction, once they moved to a half-celestial world, they would be cut off from their original world and would no longer belong to their original world. For example, if a powerful faction in the Heaven Awakened world became a Saint-grade faction and found a half-celestial world, they would all move there. They would no longer have the Heaven Awakened world's fate and would no longer be controlled by the Heaven Awakened world. No matter how the Heaven Awakened world affected them, it would not affect them. It could be said that they had broken free from all restraints and were incredibly relaxed. In the future, if they developed in a half-celestial world, they would have some celestial world fate, Saint-grade power, or celestial world power. Because of this, people from Saint-grade factions would not go to worlds that were lower than their own and would only stay in a half-celestial world or go to a celestial world. Moreover, the half-immortal world was a world between two worlds. There weren't many half-immortal worlds. Moreover, there were big and small half-immortal worlds. Small half-immortal worlds were usually occupied by Saint rank power. If it was a big half-immortal world, there might be several Saint rank powers occupying it. Spirit Maiden closed her eyes and sensed for a while before saying, "I still haven't sensed anything." Zhao Fu felt a bit disappointed and continued to search with Spirit Maiden. A few hours later, Zhao Fu and Spirit Maiden came to another star ocean. Before they did anything, they sensed terrifying battle ripples. These battle ripples were incredibly massive, and in front of them, they felt incredibly small. It was as if they were standing there and looking at a massive star. Sensing these ripples, Zhao Fu and Spirit Maiden looked at each other and immediately hid their auras as they followed the ripples. 10 or so minutes later, it was a 10,000-meter-long fish that looked like a catfish. It had violet scales and 4 black eyes. Its gaze was cold and deep, and it gave off a massive amount of starry sky energy. There was also a 10,000-meter-long bug that looked like a caterpillar. It was blue and had long metal needles on its body. It did not have eyes and also gave off massive starry sky power. Both of them were star beasts, and mature star beasts were 10,000 meters long. They had terrifying destructive power, and star beasts were famous for their size. 2 huge star beasts were fighting intensely. The starfish vigorously swung its tail, giving off a terrifying power as it sent a star insect flying. The star beast let out a huge roar, opened its mouth, and shot out a huge beam of light at the starfish. The starfish released a powerful starry sky power, which formed a semicircular barrier in front of it. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the beam of light struck the barrier with terrifying power, causing it to shatter. However, it did not harm the starfish at all. The starfish gave off a massive aura as it vigorously smashed towards the starbug, and the starbug also smashed towards the starfish. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the 2 terrifying powers collided, causing a shockwave to ripple out. Zhao Fu looked at these 2 star beasts and thought about it. This was the first time he had seen star beasts, so he planned to properly study them. Moreover, the star beasts were only at the world realm, so Zhao Fu decided to act. Xing! Zhao Fu drew the Emperor Killing Sword and gave off a massive aura as he rushed at the 2 star beasts. He vigorously slashed out, sending out an enormous sword light that sent the star bug flying. After being sent flying, a gash appeared on the starbug's body, from which blue blood flowed out. The starfish looked quite startled and had never thought that it would suddenly discover something like this. It looked at the other side, and Zhao Fu found that it was just a tiny thing. Roar! The starfish opened its mouth and spat out an enormous orb of energy, which gave off terrifying power as it shot toward Zhao Fu. seeming to be able to destroy a mountain. Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed and vigorously slashed out with his sword. A sharp sword light flashed out, slashing apart the enormous orb of energy, which turned into countless motes of light and dissipated. Boom! Zhao Fu gave off a massive aura as he rushed towards the starfish. He quickly came before it and raised his sword, sending a powerful wave of power into it, causing the sword to give off an intense light. The starfish felt a wave of terror and turned, wanting to run. Shing! A massive sword hum sounded out as an enormous sword light containing enough power to split apart space slashed towards the starfish, sending it flying back. A massive gash appeared on the right side of its body, from which blood continuously flowed out. Even though the starfish only had world realm power, whether it was defense or destructive power, it was far stronger than ordinary world realm experts. Ordinary world realm experts would have long since been killed by a single strike from Zhao Fu. However, the starfish was only slightly injured and had not been killed by the sword strike. After being sent flying by Zhao Fu, the starfish felt incredibly furious and was about to attack Zhao Fu. However, seeing how terrifying Zhao Fu was, it immediately turned and ran. Zhao Fu's gaze became cold, and the golden pupil in his left eye quickly spun as a terrifying power spread out. Shing, shing, shing! Massive chains containing terrifying power shot out from all directions, densely packed as they quickly shot towards the astral worm. Massive sounds of chains rang out in the air. Chi! Chi! Muffled explosions sounded out as blood flew everywhere. The massive chains pierced through the starfish's body, and it howled as it died. Seeing Zhao Fu, a look of terror appeared in the starfish's eyes, and it did not hesitate to turn and run. Zhao Fu's body disappeared and appeared next to the starfish. He vigorously slashed out, hitting the wound on the starfish's body. The starfish's body was split in half, and it did not even have the time to howl before it died. Following this, Zhao Fu started to examine the starfish's corpse. Before heading to the boundless void, Zhao Fu had gathered some information. The boundless void was not as dangerous as the bottomless ruins, and void realm experts could barely explore it. As such, there was a lot of information about the boundless void. Zhao Fu could use this information to gain a basic understanding of the boundless void. Among the information, there was a lot of information about star beasts. Some described the star beasts' powerful abilities, special materials, and some of their living habits. Now, Zhao Fu wanted to personally understand star beasts. Chapter 2385. The first was the various materials from the star beast bodies, such as their scales, skin, eyes, horns, and bones. Apart from having star attributes, they also contained a portion of the world's powers. They were quite high-grade materials and could be used to make many things. The Heaven Awakened World's experts would also go into the boundless void to kill star beasts and obtain many materials. Zhao Fu only examined the materials and did not break them all down. This was because the star beast was 10,000 meters long, and it would take a lot of time to break down the materials on its body. Zhao Fu did not want to waste time on these materials. Clang! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu slashed out with his sword, sending out a sword light that split open the starfish's corpse, and a 2-meter-wide silver orb appeared. This silver orb seemed like metal, but it didn't seem like metal. There were some circular runes on its surface, and it gave off a faint light and a trace of star energy. The sphere was called the Star Core, and it was the source of the star beast's power. The power it contained was enormous, and it could be used by other creatures. After other creatures absorbed the Star Core, they would obtain a portion of the star beast's power and abilities. This thing was the most valuable thing from a star beast, and it was also useful to Zhao Fu. With it, Zhao Fu could nurture a group of star beasts. As for Xinghai, these pure star beasts were very difficult to subdue. They had very strong resistance and immunity to the restrictions of various worlds. It was not just the Heaven Awakened Worlds, people who were unable to subdue star beasts. People from the other outer world and alchemy worlds were unable to subdue star beasts either. Zhao Fu swung his sword again and slashed at the astral worm's corpse, taking out an astral core. This astral core was the same as the other astral cores. There were not many changes. After putting away the 2 star cores, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden continued onward. A few days later, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden stopped in a sea of stars. During this time, they encountered a dozen or so star beasts, all of which were slain by Zhao Fu. He obtained a dozen or so star cores, but he didn't take any of the materials. Apart from these gains, Zhao Fu did not discover anything else. Zhao Fu turned his gaze toward the Spirit Maiden and didn't say anything. The Spirit Maiden understood and closed her eyes to sense her surroundings. Suddenly, the Spirit Maiden was elated. "Your Majesty, I sensed a fluctuation in the southwest direction. There should be a world there." Hearing this, Zhao Fu was delighted. He had finally made a discovery. Without any hesitation, Zhao Fu immediately flew forward with the Spirit Maiden and arrived in front of a barrier. The world barrier could also be called the world barrier. Its main function was to protect the world and separate it from the endless void. This was because the endless void was quite dangerous. Take the star beasts, for example. If they barged into a world that did not have the ability to cultivate, they would cause great damage. Therefore, there had to be something to stop them. At the same time, it could also be used for chanting. The barrier could conceal an entire world. Right now, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden were standing in front of a vast expanse of nothingness. Unless they were extremely powerful, they wouldn't even be able to detect the presence of the barrier. The world isolation prevented anything from entering, so Zhao Fu had no way of entering directly. However, this did not stop Zhao Fu. Ever since Zhao Fu became the Lord of the 3 realms, he had grasped the power of heaven and earth as well as the laws of the world. Even the world barrier was formed from the power of heaven and earth. Zhao Fu could use the same type of power to break through this barrier. Zhao Fu extended a hand and placed it on the world barrier. A burst of power of heaven and earth surged forth from his palm and injected into the world barrier. Waves of light proliferated outward. Normal people might not be able to see them, but Zhao Fu could sense that a net had appeared in front of him. The threads of the net were the laws, and the countless threads of laws formed this net in front of Zhao Fu. Combined with the power of heaven and earth, this net formed the world barrier. Zhao Fu extended a hand and twisted forcefully. The net was torn apart by a powerful force, and a large hole appeared in front of Zhao Fu. On the other side of the hole was a blue sky with white clouds and a radiant sun. This was completely different from the boundless void that Zhao Fu was situated in. Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden entered this world. After arriving in this world, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden stood in the sky of this world, looking down at the world below them. All of the plants and creatures in this world had their own unique characteristics, which were different from the worlds that Zhao Fu had seen in the past. For example, the plants here are not very tall. The tallest trees were only around 10 meters tall, while the average trees were only 4 or 5 meters tall. All of their leaves were blue and drooped softly, and their branches felt like rocks. The ground was also blue, and most of the flowers and plants growing here were also blue. They were also quite small. Zhao Fu stood there and sensed his surroundings, and a disappointed expression appeared on his face. This world was not a half-immortal realm. Instead, it was a normal world of dust. Furthermore, it was the lowest level world of dust. The spiritual power here was very sparse, and there was no way to cultivate here. There were 2 paths of evolution for a world like this. The first path was for a world to grow over a long period of time and construct more complete laws of heaven and earth, which would allow the world to have spirit chi. The creatures living here would then be able to use spirit chi to cultivate and enter the era of a cultivation world. A cultivation world in the boundless void had a very big advantage, as most worlds walked the path of cultivation. The second path was the path of technology. Worlds that walked this path did not have any spirit chi, so they could only walk the path of technology and rely on powerful technology to grow. Even though they had no choice but to walk the path of technology, once technology became more powerful, it would be incredibly terrifying. For example, the human world in the past had airplanes, artillery shells, tanks, and machine guns. With these technological products, if other Ashen worlds invaded, they would be able to resist. They would not suffer a crushing defeat and be slaughtered by others. It was a pity that the great thousand world that devoured the human world was the Heaven-awakened world, and the Heaven-awakened world walked the path of cultivation. As such, the human world's technology was wiped out, and humans could only cultivate from scratch. This caused the human world to be at a great disadvantage. If other cultivation worlds attacked, they would not be able to resist at all and would only be slaughtered. If it was a great thousand world that focused on technology after devouring the human world, they would keep all of their technology. However, there were differences in technological civilizations, and it was possible for the human world to be suppressed by higher-level technology without being able to retaliate at all. Compared to worlds of the same level, the cultivation world had a greater advantage. For example, they had many things that low-level technology could not do. For example, the cultivation world could set up an illusion formation, causing people to kill each other. Moreover, the people of the cultivation world all had shocking strength and could easily shatter boulders. They were many times faster than ordinary people, and those who did not cultivate would definitely die if they faced them. They even had ways to control people, turning them into puppets. If they controlled the higher-ups, it would be a disaster. Chapter 2386. If they wanted to resist such a cultivation world, they would need to possess higher-level technology and not be at the same level as those cultivation worlds. A more advanced technology world could make up for many of their advantages. The cultivators of a cultivation world were powerful, but they could use mechas to defend against them. The cultivators of a cultivation world had magic formations, but they could use technology to destroy magic formations. The cultivators of a cultivation world could control people and turn them into their puppets, and the cultivators of a technological world could also use advanced technology to defend against the cultivators of a cultivation world. However, if a more advanced technology world encountered a cultivation world of the same level, it would still lose miserably. This was because a more advanced cultivation world had more powerful methods, and if one wanted to break through it, they would need more advanced technology. That was why the technological world was at a disadvantage. In the boundless void, most worlds focused on cultivation, and very few took the path of technology. For a period of time, the human world had been a cultivation world, so there were many myths and legends. Some of the stories were quite exaggerated, but some were true. After the human world's spirit chi dissipated and the world entered an age of decline, they chose to take the path of technology. Zhao Fu knew the reason for this. The spirit maiden was the consciousness of the human world. It would be strange if Zhao Fu did not know about this. However, in the ancient world, which was the era of Niuhua and Fuxi, the human world had established its laws and had abundant spirit chi. Not only were there all sorts of powerful people, but there were also countless terrifying beasts. There were even some powerful beings and beasts that broke through the barriers and entered the boundless void, such as Niuhua, Fuxi, Hut, the Yellow Emperor, Laozi, Confucius. After entering the boundless void, there was no news of these human beings, and no one knew if they were dead or alive. Perhaps Zhao Fu would meet them in the future. After the human world's cultivation flourished for a period of time, it faced a massive crisis. Back then, the human world had been quite unlucky. For some reason, two unimaginably peerless beings had engaged in a massive battle, shattering the void and destroying all living things. The Spirit Maiden clearly remembered that battle. It was definitely a battle between two beings who were even more powerful than celestials. The human world happened to be nearby and was affected by the shockwaves of the battle, causing a large amount of spirit chi to dissipate. Even after so many years, the Spirit Maiden was still unable to repair the world. The shockwaves heavily damaged the human world, and the spirit chi quickly decreased. In the end, the Spirit Maiden managed to retain a very small amount of spirit chi to ensure that the human world's cultivation legacies would not be severed, and the main body of the world entered the technological world. However, what the Spirit Maiden didn't expect was that the heaven-awakened world would sense its existence and use its world-devouring ability against it. After that, the human world was devoured by the heaven-awakened world and became independent, forming a new world. The Spirit Maiden was no longer the ruler of all living things. Zhao Fu was the ruler of the human world. In the endless void, there were many worlds like the human world. They were like specks of dust, which was why they were called the dust world. A great thousand world, like the heaven-awakened world, was a top-tier world within the boundless void, and there was no world higher than it. A great thousand world was a boundless world. There were many levels of worlds in between. The boundless world was the highest level world, while the dust world was the lowest level world. The Spirit Maiden was also a little disappointed as she said, "Your Majesty, let's leave and continue searching for the half-immortal realm." This was just a dust world. Moreover, it was a world without spirit chi, making it impossible to cultivate. It was not what Zhao Fu was looking for. However, after thinking about it, Zhao Fu said, "Don't worry. Let me take a look at this primitive dust world first." It was the first time that Zhao Fu had come to such a primitive world, so he was quite interested and wanted to see what it was like. The Spirit Maiden felt quite surprised and lightly nodded. Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden gave off massive auras as they quickly flew forwards and stopped in the sky above a tribe. The tribe was in a primitive state, and the houses were all inspected with mud and leaves. The weapons in their hands were all quite crude, and they were made of stone or bone. They did not even know how to refine metal. Most of the people living here were humanoid, but they only had 4 fingers. They were tall and skinny, and their skin was blue. Their eyes were very big and round. The auras that they gave off did not belong to humans, outlanders, demon race, or metallurgy race. Instead, they belonged to a completely new race. Seeing Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden in the sky, the people of the tribe, regardless of whether they were male or female, young or old, all looked excited or fearful. They knelt down and worshipped Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden as they spoke in a strange language. Zhao Fu naturally did not understand what they were saying, but he used his telepathic communication ability to understand what they were saying. "We pay our respects to great heavenly God. We are willing to find powerful prey to sacrifice to you and will obey all of your orders. Please do not harm us. Great heavenly gods really do exist in this world. They look so strange, but they're also so terrifying. They're like mountains floating in the sky, and they can instantly kill us. Great heavenly God, I'm willing to be your slave and forever be loyal to you. Please take me in. You won't regret it. Revered great heavenly God, my mother has fallen ill, and her condition is very serious. Please show me your powerful divine power and heal my mother. I'm willing to serve you forever." Great heavenly God, I'm so happy to see you. This is the first time I've seen great heavenly God, and I'm extremely honored. Great heavenly God, I'm willing to serve you. I've never been touched by a man before, so please bestow upon me divine power. Great heavenly God has descended upon our tribe, so our tribe will be enshrouded by divine light. We'll definitely make sacrifices to make great heavenly God stay in our tribe. Zhao Fu heard these people. Perhaps to these primitive tribe people, any cultivator who could stand in the sky and give off a bit of power would be called great heavenly God. From what they knew, it was impossible for a person to stand in the sky, much less give off such a terrifying aura. The culture of the divine Tao was very unique. Even in a world where one could not cultivate or where there were no gods, there would still be many people who believed in the existence of gods. Anything that they could not recognize or understand would be viewed as gods. The immortal Tao, Buddhist Tao, demonic Tao, and demon Tao would not be able to do this. They were all things that would only be born after a period of development. Zhao Fu looked at them, continuously kneeling, and a trace of a smile appeared on his face. He casually waved his hand, and a wave of 10,000 deities' power spread out, and a ray of light descended upon the tribe. The people in the tribe could clearly feel that their injuries were quickly disappearing, and their strength had become stronger than before. Their mental state had also become better, and it was completely different from before. Chapter 23:87. Lord God, Lord God, Lord God, Lord God. Now that they had personally sensed Zhao Fu's divine power, many people excitedly cried out. Their voices were so loud that they could be heard even from far away. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and turned into a ray of light as he flew away. These people were from the primitive age, and Zhao Fu did not have much intention of interacting with them. That would simply be a waste of time. Even though Zhao Fu needed people, this place was quite far away from the Heaven Awakened world, and Zhao Fu could not bring these people back to Qin. Devouring a world that did not have the ability to cultivate would not be very beneficial. After Zhao Fu left, the tribe's people still knelt on the ground and called out, Lord God. Only after a while did they get up, and they had people paint the walls to record the Lord God's descent. Zhao Fu had only given these people a bit of divine power, which was quite insignificant to Zhao Fu. In fact, Zhao Fu would soon forget about it. However, Zhao Fu's 10,000 godly power was a perfect sovereign's power, and even though it was quite weak, it had a great impact on these people who did not know how to cultivate. Their constitutions became stronger, their life force became stronger, and there was a trace of divine power in their bloodlines. To ordinary people who cultivated, this was quite weak. However, to those who did not know how to cultivate, it was a massive advantage. With this, the tribe's people could fight 3 people at once and live longer. Right now, they did not know about these benefits, and only later did they understand how mighty the Lord God they had met was. He had given them such terrifying power, and they felt incredibly grateful. They called themselves the God Race and revered Zhao Fu as the God Ancestor. They built temples and worshipped him for generations to come. In the future, they might become the most powerful race in this world and attack other tribes, becoming an even more powerful faction, and they might even be able to establish their own kingdom. This was something that would only happen in the future, and there was no need to say anything more. The matter of them meeting Zhao Fu would become a legend. Zhao Fu continued to fly forwards and looked at the various things in this world before stopping above a massive lake. This lake was very big, and it was over 10,000 kilometers wide. The water was blue, and the surface of the lake was very calm, seeming like a mirror that reflected the blue sky and white clouds. There were mountains all around it, and the scenery was quite beautiful. However, there was a fatal danger here, as there was a toad-like creature that was hundreds of meters long at the bottom of the lake. It was impossible to cultivate in this world. When faced with such a large creature, there was no way to resist at all. There was only death. There was not even the thought of resisting. Of course, this was not dangerous to Zhao Fu at all, as he could crush it with a single hand. Zhao Fu glanced at it and saw that it was incredibly terrified as it crawled at the bottom of the lake. Its body trembled, and it did not dare to move in fear that Zhao Fu would kill it. This was the first time it had encountered such a terrifying existence. Zhao Fu was quite surprised that there would be such a large creature in a world where one could not cultivate. He sensed its existence, so he came over to take a look. The toad's power was not very strong to Zhao Fu, and it seemed to contain some monster race bloodline. Apart from that, there was nothing special about it. After seeing this primitive world, Zhao Fu had some understanding of it, and he smiled as he said, "Let's leave." Following this, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden left this unknown world. Why did it become an unknown world? This was because Zhao Fu did not know what kind of race this was, nor did he know what kind of world it was. In the boundless void, there were not just a few races, there were many races. The human race, demon race, monster race, water race, spirit race, outlander race, god race, and ghost race were the 8 races that were relatively more numerous in the boundless void. There were also many of these 8 races in the celestial realm. The human race was a branch of the human race, and as such a large race, they would have more benefits than some smaller races. In terms of fate, the large races would definitely be very powerful and would not be easily destroyed. However, It was hard to say for the smaller races. Boom! Half a day later, a massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu slew a massive star beast with a single sword strike. He went up and took out the star core and was about to leave with the spirit maiden. Suddenly, a young man appeared in the sky. This young man wore white clothes and had delicate and pretty features. His eyes were like the pupils of a dragon, and even though he looked quite young, his eyes seemed to have experienced a lot and gave off the might of a mighty figure. After the young man appeared, his eyes fell on Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's heart tightened, and he became cautious. He did not understand why a mighty figure would suddenly appear here, and he did not know what race he was either. Luckily, he had the celestial concealment token, which could hide all of his aura. "Sir, what business do you have with me?" Zhao Fu and the spirit maiden bowed respectfully. Facing an existence of this level, Zhao Fu could not resist at all, and he could only choose to be obedient. Moreover, this mighty figure seemed to be even more powerful than ordinary mighty figures. The young man looked at Zhao Fu and said calmly, "I passed by this place and saw that your talent is not bad. Are you willing to be my disciple?" Zhao Fu inwardly breathed out, so he wanted to take him as a disciple and did not have any ill intentions. However, Zhao Fu's talent was not just not bad. It surpassed the heavens and earth and shook the three great Kiliacosm. It could even shake the celestial realm. Now, Zhao Fu was using the celestial concealment token to hide himself, and this Qin could only see that he was not simple. This was enough to show that the mighty figure was not simple, as ordinary mighty figures could see through everything. The celestial concealment token was something that a peak half-celestial had given to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not think too much about it and refused. Even though having a mighty figure as his master would give him a powerful backer, Zhao Fu had too many secrets that he did not want to divulge. Moreover, Zhao Fu did not know much about mighty figures. How could he just take someone as his master? Moreover, he was not used to calling someone as his master. Ever since he started cultivating, Zhao Fu had always been alone and did not need a master. The young man was a bit surprised and looked at Zhao Fu. "Since you don't want to, I won't force you. This is my token. If you change your mind, you could go to the Black Tortoise Half Immortal World to find me." Saying that, the young man threw a jade pendant over. Zhao Fu was startled and reached out to catch the jade pendant. The jade pendant was cyan in color and had a few half-dragon and half-snake creatures carved on it. The two words Black Tortoise were written in the middle, and it was emitting a faint light. This jade pendant was a mighty figure, so it was impossible for Zhao Fu to refuse. Otherwise, he would not be giving face and would be courting death. However, this mighty figure was indeed powerful. He came from the half-immortal world. Zhao Fu felt that he could ask him about the half-immortal world and the crack to the immortal world. Perhaps he would know some information. Chapter 2388. Zhao Fu thought about it and asked, "I wonder if Senior can find a crack to the immortal world or an uninhabited half-immortal world?" The youth said calmly, "What's the use of these things?" Zhao Fu replied, "I need a large amount of immortal energy." The youth looked at Zhao Fu and didn't continue asking. He said calmly, "It's extremely difficult to find an uninhabited half-immortal world. Not only are people from the Great Thousand World looking for it, but people from the half-immortal world are also looking for it. As for the crack to the immortal world, I know of a few. However, it's a forbidden area in the endless void. Time and space are chaotic and laws collapse. It's extremely dangerous. Even immortals might lose their lives there." When Zhao Fu heard that there were a few cracks to the immortal world, he was pleasantly surprised. However, when he heard that it was so dangerous, Zhao Fu's expression turned serious. Finally, he said decisively, "Senior, please tell me the location." The youth took out a circular jade disc and threw it to Zhao Fu. "This is a map of the endless void. There are many things recorded on it, including the location of the forbidden area." Zhao Fu caught the jade disc, and his consciousness entered it. A huge map of the stars appeared in front of him. There were many different information recorded on it, such as the name of the place, which places were extremely dangerous, and which creatures lived in those places. This was very important to Zhao Fu. With this map, Zhao Fu wouldn't need to move forward aimlessly. He could choose to explore. The map was also very precious. Even a supreme expert would need hundreds of years to explore such a large area of the endless void and record all sorts of information. Many thanks, Senior. Zhao Fu bowed gratefully. The youth said calmly, "You're welcome. Is there anything else? If there is, I can help you as much as I can." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "There's nothing else. I'll have to trouble Senior." The youth said, "Then I'll leave first." The map also has the location of the Black Tortoise Half Immortal World. If you have anything, you can go there directly. Zhao Fu nodded. The youth's body disappeared like a phantom, as if he had never appeared. Zhao Fu couldn't help but smile. This time his luck was quite good. Even though that higher being seemed cold, he felt quite good. If he had encountered a bad higher being, he might have been captured by that higher being. Now that he had the map, Zhao Fu's consciousness entered the jade disc and carefully looked at the map. Zhao Fu found a location of the Black Tortoise Half Immortal World on the map. In addition to the Black Tortoise Half Immortal World, there were hundreds of other half immortal worlds. A few hundred half celestial worlds sounded like a lot, but this boundless void was thousands of times bigger than the Heaven Awakened world, so it was quite small. This map only recorded the image of the endless void. It was just this piece of the map, not the entire endless void. No one knew how big the real endless void was. The half-immortal worlds on the map were basically all highly dangerous. The number of almighty experts and half-immortals were quite high. There were even immortals. Zhao Fu definitely had to avoid these places. Right now, he was only an Emperor Heaven Realm cultivator and would not be able to defend against these Saint-grade factions. Back to the main topic. Zhao Fu had already found the locations of the celestial world's cracks on the map, and there were 4 in total. The first was a massive crack, which was formed by the collision between the celestial world and the boundless void. It was the most dangerous place. Not only were there space-time chaotic flows and collapsing laws, but there were also powerful celestial beasts that might run out. Those were celestial beasts from the celestial world and had powerful celestial world source energy. Even immortals might not be a match for celestial beasts, and even higher beings could be instantly killed. The other 3 were formed by battles that surpassed the celestial level. They were also incredibly dangerous, and the remnant energy ripples could easily kill a higher being. Half-immortal worlds were incredibly difficult to find, so Zhao Fu first looked at the celestial world's cracks. Zhao Fu planned to go to the least dangerous places to have a look. Right now, he could only take a look. Zhao Fu was simply too weak, and he could die at any moment if he went in. A few days later, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden arrived at the first crack, the Burning Spirit Forbidden Area. This place was covered by a massive orb of flames, and it was incredibly big, as if they were standing in a world of flames. Standing in front of this place, Zhao Fu felt incredibly small. The temperature here was extremely high, and the surrounding void twisted and crumbled. Even from very far away, one could feel this heat. If an ordinary person went in, they would instantly be vaporized, leaving nothing behind. Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden had already released defensive barriers to resist the terrifying heat. They were only at the edge of the forbidden area, so Zhao Fu could still resist. "Let's go in," Zhao Fu said to the Spirit Maiden. The Spirit Maiden nodded, and the 2 of them entered as if they had been devoured by the flames. After entering the forbidden area, the void around them was burning with countless flames. Zhao Fu didn't continue onward. Instead, he started to sense the surroundings. Zhao Fu's idea was to find a relatively stable place in the forbidden area and set up a 10 Abyss Earth Transfer Formation there, as well as a Spatial Connection Formation. The 10 Abyss Earth Transfer Formation's function was to gather the power of an area and transfer it to another area. However, this place was extremely far away from Qin City, so he needed to set up a spatial formation to connect this space to Qin City space. That way, the spiritual power here could be injected directly into the Heaven Realm. After sensing their surroundings, Even though the flames here contained immortal power and were a type of immortal flame, they were still a little too weak. Furthermore, this place was in a state of chaos and collapse, so there was no way to set up any formations. After that, Zhao Fu and the spirit maiden continued onward. Roar! A massive explosion sounded as a massive flaming lion appeared before Zhao Fu, charging toward Zhao Fu and the spirit maiden with terrifying power. Xing! Zhao Fu took out the emperor-killing sword and vigorously slashed out, sending out a massive sword light towards the fire lion with shocking power. Boom! Even more ferocious flames erupted around the fire lion's body, and a massive wave of heat spread out, causing the surrounding space to seem to burn. The sword light that Zhao Fu had slashed out also seemed to burn, turning into motes of light and dissipating. The massive fire lion gave off immense heat and ferociously charged at Zhao Fu, as if it could not stop it at all. Xing, Xing, Xing! Zhao Fu didn't believe it and swung his sword, sending out a few more sword lights that contained shocking power and massive sword winds towards the fire lion. Bang! 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 Just like the previous sword light, the few sword lights were set ablaze before they could even reach the fire lion. After that, a few muffled sounds rang out before they turned into countless specks of light and dissipated. The sword winds also dispersed, unable to harm the fire lion at all. Chapter 2389. Zhao Fu's expression fell. This was only the outskirts of the forbidden area, and yet the flame lion was already so powerful. This was not a place that Emperor Heaven Realm experts should be in. However, Zhao Fu did not plan to give up and directly used his most powerful power. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a divine power that surpassed the heavens, and earth exploded out from Zhao Fu's body. In that instant, space seemed to freeze as if it had been locked down by divine power. Zhao Fu's hair gave off a rainbow light and gradually became transparent like crystal. An ancient mirror appeared on his forehead, and his black cloak seemed to be dyed by light, turning into a holy white cloak, and his body gave off a rainbow divine light. By now, the flame lion had reached Zhao Fu and opened its massive mouth as it bit toward Zhao Fu, causing a wave of heat to sweep out. Boom! Zhao Fu did not move at all as the ancient mirror shot out a terrifying ray of light. It was incredibly fast and instantly pierced through the flame lion's body, drawing out a thin crystalline line as the flame lion's body exploded into flames. Spirit Maiden looked at Zhao Fu with a look of shock. It was the first time she had seen Zhao Fu temporarily use this power that could rule over the god world. Zhao Fu did not say anything, and his expression was cold. After entering this 10,000 god state, he seemed to have lost all emotions, and his aura became ethereal and illusory. At that moment, Zhao Fu's body floated forwards, and Spirit Maiden followed by his side. Roar! 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 Massive roars sounded out as the flames in the surroundings continuously gathered, forming massive flame beasts. They were covered in ferocious flames and gave off massive power as they rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's body stopped, and a massive wave of power entered the ancient mirror on his forehead. Divine runes lit up, and a terrifying ripple spread out. Swish, swish, swish! The sound of the air being torn could be heard as the small, ancient mirror shot out tens of thousands of rays of light, giving off world-destroying power. They shot forwards, causing space to be torn apart. Bang! 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 The rays of light contained terrifying power as they instantly pierced through the fire beast's bodies, causing them to explode. Flames flew everywhere as ripples spread out. The group of fire beasts was instantly dealt with by Zhao Fu. The powerful fire beasts had no ability to resist in front of Zhao Fu. In this state, Zhao Fu was too terrifying. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he continued to float forward. A sea of flames appeared in front of Zhao Fu. It was white, and the flames swayed, looking like waves. It looked like a real ocean, and it gave off a terrifying heat. The surrounding void had already become blurry, like a layer of mist covering a piece of glass, forming an invisible resistance. Even without the sea of fire, it was difficult for people to advance, as if they were stuck in a quagmire. There were already a few people standing in front of the sea of white flames. Their bodies gave off the aura of a divine bloodline, and they were quite powerful. They were most likely holy sons of Saint-class factions. Zhao Fu's arrival caused their expressions to immediately change. Their gazes all focused on Zhao Fu. This was the first time they had felt such terrifying divine power. A well-built and honest-looking young man said in a low voice, "Who is he? How does he have such terrifying divine power?" The beautiful woman next to him shook her head. "I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen him before. He shouldn't be someone from a nearby Saint-class faction." Another young man wearing a long robe said, "This person is definitely not simple. We all have void realm cultivation and are holy sons, but we all feel immense pressure in front of this person." A handsome young man said, This person is indeed very terrifying. The divine power he grasps is even stronger than ordinary celestial power. I personally feel that he's even more terrifying than that fairy Hao Dao." There was also a young girl with a pure aura who looked shocked. "No way. Hao Dao is a fairy from the celestial world and has an origin bloodline. Her power is many times more terrifying than ordinary holy sons. With his identity, most Saint-class factions don't dare to offend him. Isn't it a bit too exaggerated to compare him to you?" The honest-looking young man who had spoken first had a serious expression. "I also feel that he's even more terrifying than fairy Hao Dao. Since carefully, he seems to surpass everything and is not bound by any laws. He's ethereal, illusory, untouchable, and undetectable." Hearing this, everyone sensed and felt shocked. The beautiful woman said, "It's true. This person is even more terrifying than fairy Hao Dao." The handsome young man looked at Zhao Fu seriously. "Then what is this person's identity? Why did he come to this forbidden area?" The sudden appearance of such a terrifying person is no small matter. The long-robed young man said seriously, "He's even more terrifying than ordinary fairies. He definitely comes from a terrifying place in the celestial world. How can there be such a terrifying person in the lower realm? It seems that his goal is the same as ours. Even though this is a forbidden area and is extremely dangerous, there are cracks to the celestial world here. The celestial chi that flows out can nurture extremely powerful treasures. I've also heard that back then, two unknown and terrifying experts fought here. One of them chopped off the other's arm, and that's how the burning spirit forbidden land is formed. If anyone can obtain that arm, they will have unimaginably terrifying power and will definitely be a supreme treasure. However, no one has ever obtained it, not even celestials." The pure-looking young woman said, "I've heard of this legend before, but that person's goal shouldn't be that arm. His cultivation is only at the Emperor Heaven realm, so it's impossible for him to obtain that arm. I feel that his goal is the same as ours. He came here to gain experience and obtain some precious treasures." The beautiful woman lightly laughed. "Should we go and greet him and see just who he is?" The honest-looking young man shook his head. "I think we shouldn't. I'm quite afraid of him. Look at him. He seems to have wiped out all of his emotions. If we go over rashly, we might be killed by him." The handsome young man said, This person's state is quite terrifying. Right now, that person's state is quite terrifying, and he seems to have transcended everything. He has no emotions, and he's leaning towards the heavenly Tao." Zhao Fu's body slowly floated over, and the spirit maiden followed behind him. The beautiful woman still wanted to come over and talk to Zhao Fu, so she looked at the people beside her and said, "Are you really not going? It's rare for us to meet such a terrifying person. If we can befriend him, we'll receive unimaginable benefits. Don't forget that our goal is to become celestials and go to the celestial world. He's an existence that's even more terrifying than fairies, and we might need his help in the celestial world in the future. If you don't take this opportunity, don't regret it." Hearing this, the people who did not want to go could not help but feel tempted. Chapter 2390. After thinking about it, everyone decided to go up and talk to Zhao Fu. They just had to be careful and not anger him. Everyone flew towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's body floated forward, and his cold gaze swept across the Holy Sons. The Holy Sons' bodies froze, and they felt a chill. A trace of fear surged in their hearts. When Zhao Fu looked at them, it was as if they had been stared at by the eyes of the heavenly Tao. They felt extremely small, like a grain of sand standing in front of a mountain. Their bodies turned cold, and their hearts were filled with fear. What kind of eyes were those? There were so many pupils in one eye socket, and they were all different powers and auras. His right eye was also very strange. It was a cross with 6 gray dots. These were not eyes that mortals should have. No wonder his power was so terrifying. Just from this pair of eyes, one could understand how terrifying he was. The Holy Sons who wanted to go up and talk to Zhao Fu looked at Zhao Fu in fear. They did not dare to fly forward, and they looked a little awkward. Right now, Zhao Fu's various emotions were weakened, and he did not have any intention of talking to the Holy Sons. His gaze was still as cold as ever. The Holy Sons understood what Zhao Fu meant, so they stopped. They were the legendary Holy Sons, existences that countless people looked up to and feared. Very few people could make them act like this. Zhao Fu's body floated to the front of the white sea of flames. The white sea of flames seemed to have a mind of its own. It sensed that Zhao Fu had come to its side, and the flames became even more ferocious, forming a huge wave of flames that was thousands of meters tall and tens of thousands of meters long. It was like a huge monster that swallowed toward Zhao Fu. Boom! Zhao Fu's expression was cold. He took a step forward, and a divine power that could dominate heaven and earth rumbled down from the sky. It was as if countless rainbow-colored lights were raining down from the heavens, landing on the huge wave of flames. The huge wave of flames instantly turned into countless flames and dissipated. The ferocious and terrifying white sea of flames became a region without fire. The surrounding white flames did not dare to come close at all. The few successors widened their eyes at the sight before them. They couldn't help but gulp down their saliva, feeling that this was way too strong. These were not ordinary flames, but rather immortal flames that contained some immortal energy. They possessed extremely powerful power, so they had to be careful when facing these flames. They definitely would not be as relaxed as they were right now. Zhao Fu's body automatically floated towards the sea of white flames. The sea of white flames was afraid of Zhao Fu, so it kept retreating, but was unwilling to give up. It gathered more flames toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was still ice cold, without any emotions. His body floated forward. Boom! The white sea of flames finally could not hold back and attacked Zhao Fu. Countless flames flooded towards Zhao Fu, bringing with him a power that could incinerate space and an incredibly powerful aura. Countless white flames engulfed Zhao Fu's body, and even more white flames rapidly gathered. The flames kept piling up, forming a huge bonfire. The scorching power had reached its limit, and even steel would be vaporized in an instant. The immense heat caused the few successors to take a step back and unleash defensive barriers to defend, looking incredibly shocked. The sea of white flames seemed to have gone berserk, wanting to burn Zhao Fu. When the successors had entered, they had not caused such a thing. They all stared at the bonfire. They definitely did not believe that Zhao Fu would be defeated so easily. Boom! A shocking explosion rang out as the countless flames seemed to have been hit by tens of thousands of kilograms of weight. They were instantly blasted apart and turned into nothingness. A massive gale blew, and the immense heat instantly dissipated. At the center, Zhao Fu was completely fine. 7 different colored stars appeared behind him, and his body gave off a world-destroying power. The successors looked incredibly shocked. That person's true power had not been displayed just then. This was his full power. It was far more terrifying than they had imagined. What shocked them even more was that there were 7 stars that were as big as eggs floating behind him, giving off resplendent light. Why did they feel like there were 7 sovereign-level emperor stars? Just what is this person's identity? Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he continued to float forward. The spirit maiden followed behind him, and the white flames did not dare to obstruct him at all, making a path for him. The successor stood there and stared dazedly until Zhao Fu disappeared within the sea of flames. What should we do now? Do we continue to explore the forbidden area with him, or do we go back and report this to our elders? I feel that this is going to be an earth-shattering event. We've encountered an extraordinary person. I think we shouldn't do that. If we do that, we'll offend this terrifying person, and we might be killed by him in the future. Are we just going to watch and do nothing? Even if we don't report this, it might be very serious. Perhaps we'll be punished. It'll take a few days for us to return to our factions. Also, what can we do even if we report this? Just based on that terrifying, unknown identity of his, our factions won't dare to offend him. We'll do our best to curry favor with him, but what we're doing is offending him. You're right, and I agree. I think we should continue to explore and report to our higher-ups after we're done. We won't be disturbing his exploration, so there's very little chance of offending him. All right, let's continue to explore. I want to follow behind him to see what terrifying abilities he's going to unleash, but looking at his cold expression, I'm a little worried that I'll anger him. Me too. Even though I didn't see his true appearance, I can tell from his almost perfect profile that he's extremely handsome. I'm starting to like him a little. Don't be a love-struck fool. Even the successors will look down on people like him. You can tell from the way he looks at us. Let's go explore another area and try not to disturb him. All right, let's go explore the fire immortal butterfly area on the left. I really want to capture a fire immortal butterfly as a pet. The burning spirit forbidden area is so big, so there's no way we'll encounter one again. After the Holy Sons made their decision, they flew to the other side. Zhao Fu's body continued to float forward, and the white sea of fire continued to make way for him. After a while, Zhao Fu stopped and sensed his surroundings. This sea of fire was very big. Zhao Fu sensed his surroundings mainly to see if there were any treasures around, or if it was suitable for setting up a spirit formation. The white flames contained more celestial power than the flames outside. If he could set up a spirit formation here, it would be better. Moreover, with the sea of fire surrounding it, he wouldn't have to worry about anyone destroying it. But in the end, it was still not possible. This was also an area where time and space were chaotic. The laws here had collapsed, and it was impossible to set up a spirit formation here. Some things couldn't be used here. Chapter 2391. However, it was not that Zhao Fu did not gain anything. He discovered some extremely pure crystals and some little celestial flames with their own consciousness. Zhao Fu directly floated in that direction. The sea of white flames knew Zhao Fu's target and did not dare to stop him. The flames continuously retreated, not daring to get within a few meters of Zhao Fu. Within the sea of flames, the white crystals were also revealed. These crystals had a few sharp points and were about the size of a palm. They were located at the bottom of the sea of flames and gave off a scorching heat. As for the little flames with their own consciousness, they also retreated in fear. Zhao Fu glanced at them, and a formless divine power instantly locked them in place, making them unable to move at all. Zhao Fu came before the crystals and looked at them with a cold expression. These celestial fire crystals contained very pure celestial fire energy and had all sorts of uses, such as forging materials or creating items of destruction. He remembered that Qin's war god's fury celestial peach tree required a large amount of celestial qi to nurture, but this white crystal was not enough. It was a type of celestial fire and would cause great damage to the celestial peach tree, so it could not be used to nurture the celestial peach tree. There were many celestial fire crystals, and the ground was densely packed with them. Zhao Fu's gaze then fell on the little celestial flames. These little celestial flames were only about the size of a fist, and they floated in the air. They were also white, and their flames continuously swayed. Little celestial flames were fire spirits born from celestial flames, and they had many uses. For example, they could be used as artifact spirits, nurture into powerful fire spirits, or directly devour celestial flames and obtain the power of celestial flames. There are not many of them, only a few dozen or so, and they were all locked in place by Zhao Fu in the air. Zhao Fu did not say anything, and his expression remained cold. Even the spirit maiden, who was standing behind Zhao Fu, could not help but become cautious. She felt that the current Zhao Fu was very terrifying, and he was completely different from before. Boom! An explosion sounded out as a massive wave of divine power exploded out from Zhao Fu's body. It was like a rainbow-colored wave of light, and it instantly spread out for hundreds of thousands of meters. The sea of white flames hurriedly retreated in fear, forming a fire-free area for hundreds of thousands of meters. Waves of divine power grabbed the celestial fire crystals on the ground and flew toward Zhao Fu. There were many of them, and all of the celestial fire crystals in the surrounding 100,000 meters were grabbed by the divine power, not leaving a single one behind. The celestial fire crystals surged towards Zhao Fu like a flood. Zhao Fu waved his hand, and all of the crystals and little celestial fire crystals disappeared, and Zhao Fu sent into the space. After doing this, Zhao Fu's body that celestial Fu's lees that he could. The sea of white flames covered a very large area, so there were a lot of them. The celestial white Fu's heart, and the sea of white Fu's sea that the Fu the Chun the sea was to calm. That, and Zhao Demon Fu, he Fu's to say. Long had it to say. At this moment, the celestial white fire crystals were no longer in danger. The celestial white fire crystals were finally gone. Zhao Fu's Li's body continued to float forward. At this moment, Zhao Fu was still at the periphery of the forbidden area. He had not gone deep into the forbidden area. Therefore, the celestial white fire crystals in the periphery were easier for Zhao Fu to deal with. However, if he continued to move forward, the difficulty would increase. Zhao Fu would not be as relaxed as he was now. After entering this state, Zhao Fu obtained the strongest power in the world. However, there was a limit to this power. It was only much stronger than an emptiness realm expert. The surrounding flames turned purple, and the temperature was higher than the white flames. Sensing Zhao Fu's arrival, the flames continued to condense, forming fiery men that were 5 to 6 meters tall, and they charged toward Zhao Fu. There were many fiery men, and it was hard to tell how many there were. The fiery men emitted a scorching hot power. Zhao Fu floated there coldly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed. Countless amounts of divine power gathered in Zhao Fu's hand, forming a crystal-like, transparent sword that emitted a divine power that could purify the world. Roar! 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 These fiery men were not real living beings. They were formed from flames, and they did not show any fear. They let out loud roars and charged towards Zhao Fu with a ferocious aura. It was as if they could destroy everything. Zhao Fu's expression did not change. He held his sword and floated in the air, not moving at all. The countless flame people rushed over to Zhao Fu and were about to attack when Zhao Fu stopped. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu swung his sword, sending out an unimaginably powerful rainbow sword energy that seemed to be able to destroy all things. It swept forwards like a broom, sweeping away countless fallen leaves. In that instant, the countless fiery men were sent flying. They turned into countless purple flames and dissipated. At that moment, the black mass of flaming men disappeared completely. The spirit maiden was behind Zhao Fu, and a look of shock appeared on her face when she saw this. Back then, she had been quite optimistic about Zhao Fu. So she had nurtured Zhao Fu and made Zhao Fu the protector of the human world. Not only had Zhao Fu's accomplishments not disappointed her, but they had even exceeded her expectations. She was unable to estimate Zhao Fu's future accomplishments, and it was as if Zhao Fu had limitless potential and could continue to grow endlessly. She had not made the wrong decision back then. Zhao Fu did not care about what the spirit maiden was thinking, and his body continued to float forwards. Countless flames continuously gathered, forming fiery men that gave off powerful auras as they charged towards Zhao Fu. Facing these fiery men, Zhao Fu was still as cold and emotionless as before. He swung the sword in his hand, unleashing wave after wave of sword force. The fiery men that charged over were instantly destroyed by Zhao Fu, and they did not affect Zhao Fu much. Zhao Fu continuously floated deeper into the forbidden area. Finally, Zhao Fu came close to the inner region of the forbidden area. The fiery men ahead were crimson red, and the space there was completely twisted, making it look quite terrifying. It was as if there was a crimson wall that was continuously twisting and changing. They gave off terrifying heat that seemed to be able to incinerate everything, striking fear into people's hearts. Ordinary Emperor Heaven Realm experts could not even get close. Even if they released defensive barriers, they would not be able to withstand the immense heat and would be incinerated in an instant. Even though Zhao Fu's expression did not change, he felt a great deal of pressure and understood how terrifying this place was. The inner region of the forbidden area and the outer region were on completely different levels, and the inner region was more than 10 times more dangerous than the outer region. Boundless divine light shined out from Zhao Fu's body, and it was not intense, but resplendent. A large rainbow-colored crystalline defensive barrier slowly formed, covering Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden's bodies. The crystalline defensive barrier looked very thin and would shatter at the slightest touch, but it gave off an indestructible divine power, and there were many divine runes continuously flashing on it. Chapter 2392. Zhao Fu's body continued to drift forwards, and a massive heat scorched the powerful defensive barrier. The defensive barrier gave off a faint holy light, resisting the terrifying heat as it slowly drifted forwards. As Zhao Fu's body came closer and closer, the temperature became higher and higher. When Zhao Fu entered the Crimson Wall, the immense heat caused some parts of the crystalline defensive barrier to melt. Zhao Fu's body continuously gave off divine power, maintaining the defensive barrier so that it would not melt. After entering the Crimson Wall, the temperature reached an extreme, and more parts of the defensive barrier began to melt. Even though the Spirit Maiden was within the defensive barrier, she could still sense the terrifying heat, which could easily turn an entire world into scorched earth. If they continued like this, the defensive barrier would be destroyed, and the immense heat would burn their bodies. The Spirit Maiden wanted to help, but she was not very powerful. If they were in the human world, which was her territory, she would be able to help, but she could not hear. However, she did not need to worry. As more and more parts of the defensive barrier melted, the 7 stars behind Zhao Fu shined with 7 different types of resplendent light. 7 massive waves of Emperor Star power spread out and entered the crystalline defensive barrier. After receiving the 7 waves of Emperor Star power, the defensive barrier that was about to melt gave off an even more terrifying power and no longer melted. Zhao Fu's body continued to drift forwards. Half a day later, Zhao Fu and the Spirit Maiden finally passed through the Crimson Wall and arrived within the forbidden area. Zhao Fu once again closed his eyes, and a wave of divine sense spread out. The divine sense here was many times that of the outer region, but the temperature was even hotter and more dangerous. Their surroundings were still in a state of chaos and destruction, and they still could not set up any magic formations. They could not even take out anything from their spatial rings. Zhao Fu stopped where he was and opened his eyes as he looked ahead, wondering if he should continue onwards. If they continued onwards, it would be very dangerous for Zhao Fu with his current strength. Zhao Fu was not an arrogant person, so he would not recklessly advance. More importantly, even though there was a lot of celestial chi here, it was even more chaotic and destroyed, making it impossible to set up magic formations. If this was the case, there was no need for them to continue onwards. I can be sure this is not a suitable place. After thinking for a while, Zhao Fu still decided to advance. Now that they had entered the forbidden area, it would be a pity if he did not make a final confirmation. Keep moving. A massive tree appeared in front of Zhao Fu. This tree looked like a parasol tree, and it was 10,000 meters tall. Its thick and powerful roots pierced into the void, and its trunk was extremely large. Its crown was like a cloud, and its leaves were scarlet like flames. The tree gave off a massive wave of heat, and it was like a massive ball of flame. The surrounding space was dyed crimson red, and there was not a single other color. It gave off a terrifying feeling, and standing in the distance, it felt as if their bodies and souls were going to be burned by it. There was also a sense of powerlessness. What was even more shocking was that there was a huge fiery phoenix lying on the fiery parasol tree. This massive phoenix was nearly 10,000 meters long, and its entire body was a fiery color. It had an elegant figure, and its feathers were like fiery crystals. Its tail feathers were very long and gave off many flames, and its crown was covered with fire runes. It gave off a terrifying aura that was even greater than the aura that the parasol tree gave off. It was also many times more powerful than ordinary fire phoenixes because its flames were quite fresh. Its bloodline was also a celestial beast bloodline, but it was not a pure celestial beast bloodline, and instead had a portion of the celestial beast bloodline. Now, this fire phoenix was lying at the top of the tree with its eyes closed, as if it was sleeping. Zhao Fu stopped and looked at the massive celestial fire phoenix. Just as he was about to advance, the phoenix slowly opened its eyes. The fire phoenix slowly opened its eyes and looked at Zhao Fu with its fiery eyes. Zhao Fu immediately felt a wave of fiery flames rush towards him, and the surrounding temperature quickly rose. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he looked at the celestial fire phoenix with his terrifying eyes. Facing Zhao Fu's terrifying eyes, the celestial fire phoenix felt a trace of fear and retreated. It no longer looked at Zhao Fu and said in a moving female voice, "Who are you? Why have you trespassed into my territory? Also, I don't like the dragon race aura on your body." Zhao Fu did not give off any ripples, and his voice was as cold as ice as he said, "I'm just passing by." The celestial fire phoenix was quite displeased with Zhao Fu's cold attitude and said, "I'm asking who you are. I don't like the dragon race aura on your body, so you should take a detour." Zhao Fu coldly looked at the celestial fire phoenix and did not say anything as his body slowly floated forwards. The celestial fire phoenix angrily flapped its wings and flew down from the massive fiery parasol tree toward Zhao Fu. She understood that Zhao Fu was going to force his way through, so she did not hold back. Boom! The celestial fire phoenix gave off an extremely powerful aura as boundless crimson flames erupted from its body. It vigorously flapped its wings, and the countless flames formed massive fireballs that gave off searing heat as they shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu remained expressionless as he flew out of the energy barrier, leaving the spirit maiden within. There was still a terrifying temperature around them, and with the spirit maiden's current strength, it would be very difficult for her to resist. As such, she needed the protection of Zhao Fu's energy barrier. After flying out of the energy barrier and facing the oncoming fireballs, Zhao Fu grabbed at the air and countless traces of divine power gathered, forming a transparent crystal sword. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu swung the sword in his hand, and a massive arc of light containing terrifying power instantly slashed forwards. Bang! 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 The massive fireballs were destroyed, and terrifying shockwaves rippled out as countless flames shot everywhere. Zhao Fu's body flew past the countless flames and came before the celestial fire phoenix. He sent a massive wave of divine power into the crystal sword, causing it to give off a resplendent divine light. Boom! Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a massive sword light containing enough power to destroy space slashed towards the celestial fire phoenix with unstoppable force. Scree! The celestial fire phoenix gave a massive cry as countless flames erupted around its body, and it gave off a terrifying aura. It showed no fear as it ferociously slammed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A massive collision sound rang out as the immortal fire phoenix and the sword light collided. Sword light and fiery light shot out in all directions, and a terrifying shockwave spread out, causing space to shatter. The shockwave spread out for a radius of 1,000 meters. The celestial fire phoenix was forced back 10 or so meters, and Zhao Fu was forced back a few steps. Boom! The celestial fire phoenix flapped its wings and gave off a massive aura as it continued to rush toward Zhao Fu, its claws vigorously grabbing toward Zhao Fu. However, Zhao Fu's body instantly disappeared and reappeared above the celestial fire phoenix's head, slashing towards it. Chapter 2393. Countless traces of flames gathered above the celestial fire phoenix's head, forming a massive orb of flames. Zhao Fu slashed against it, causing the massive orb of flames to expand, and a wave of sword energy continued towards the celestial fire phoenix. Scree! The celestial fire phoenix opened its mouth and spat out a searing flame that contained immense power and heat that seemed to be able to burn everything toward Zhao Fu. It was incredibly fast and gave off an incredibly ferocious aura, seeming to be unstoppable. The remaining sword energy that Hui Yin had sent out was easily shattered, and Hui Yin continued to rush toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a powerful wave of divine power flowed out, forming a hexagonal shield of light. It gave off a powerful divine might. Bang! The terrifying flame slammed into the shield of light, resulting in a massive explosion. The flame spread out, and the massive heat melted the shield of light. Zhao Fu's expression did not change at all, and he stretched out his hand to send out even more divine power to defend against the flames. Bang! Just as the flames stopped, the celestial fire phoenix's massive body slammed into the shield of light. The massive power shattered the shield of light, and Zhao Fu's body was sent flying back, a trace of blood leaking out of his lips. The celestial fire phoenix smiled, and its body erupted with flames. It flapped its wings, and the flames formed massive fireballs that gave off terrifying destructive power as they shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu sent a wave of power into the ancient mirror at his forehead, and an extremely terrifying ripple spread out. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of the air being torn could be heard as tens of thousands of rays of light, giving off world-destroying power, shot forwards incredibly quickly, seeming to be able to pierce through space. Bang! 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 The countless fireballs were blasted apart by the rays of light, and explosive power spread out. Flames were blasted away, and the rays of light continued to shoot towards the celestial fire phoenix. The celestial fire phoenix was given a big fright, and it flapped its wings, causing a massive wave of power to flow out and form a red-colored energy barrier that covered its massive body. Bang! 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 The rays of light smashed against the energy barrier with terrifying power, resulting in massive explosions and shocking ripples spreading out. In the end, the energy barrier was able to defend against the countless rays of light. Boom! Before the celestial fire phoenix could feel happy, the ancient mirror on Zhao Fu's forehead shot out a massive beam of light that contained terrifying power. It was incredibly fast as it streaked through the air and slammed into the celestial fire phoenix's defensive barrier. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the defensive barrier was shattered by the beam of light. The beam of light landed on the immortal fire phoenix's body, sending it flying back. It let out a pained cry as a sizable wound appeared on its body, from which blood continuously flowed out. The celestial fire phoenix furiously glared at Zhao Fu. She was incredibly angry and wanted to kill Zhao Fu. Boom! The celestial fire phoenix raised its head and made a flying pose. A terrifying power exploded out from the celestial fire phoenix's body, and countless fiery flames erupted from its body. The celestial fire phoenix became a massive fireball. Countless flames gathered on the two wings, and the light from the flames illuminated the surroundings, emitting a heat that could burn the world. Boom! The celestial fire phoenix flapped its wings with all its might, and a red gust of wind that seemed capable of burning the heavens and the earth swept forward. The space in front of it instantly twisted, and everything in its path was incinerated. Boom! Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he stretched out a hand, and 7 stars flew in front of him, giving off resplendent light as 7 massive waves of Emperor Star power spread out. Each wave of Emperor Star power formed a circular shield of light that was spread out across the 7 stars before combining together, forming 7 different colored shields of light. A might that surpassed the world spread out. Bang! The red gust of wind that seemed to be able to burn the world slammed into the shield of light, causing a terrifying shockwave to spread out. A massive wave of heat flowed out, causing the space around it to twist. However, the 7-colored shield of light gave off a massive wave of Emperor Star power and was able to defend against the gust of wind. However, the attack did not stop there. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as the celestial fire phoenix's body erupted with even more intense flames, and it vigorously flapped its wings, causing an even greater red gust of wind to blow toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A massive sound once again sounded out as the ferocious gust of wind once again slammed into the shield of light, causing an even more intense shockwave to ripple out. The 7-colored shield of light in front of Zhao Fu seemed to be indestructible under the terrifying wind. Scree! A massive phoenix cry tore through the air as the celestial fire phoenix exploded out with all of its power. A massive wave of flames erupted around its body, illuminating the surroundings and giving off power that seemed to be able to incinerate all things. Boom! The celestial fire phoenix once again flapped her wings, and the countless flames did not gather on her wings. Instead, they gathered in front of her, forming a massive 1,000-meter-tall phoenix that gave off an aura that seemed to be able to incinerate everything as it rushed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! The celestial fire phoenix was incredibly fast and slammed into the 7-colored shield of light with massive power, resulting in an intense explosion. Countless rays of blinding light covered the surroundings, and an explosive force blasted out, destroying everything in the surroundings. The Spirit Maiden felt quite startled and felt quite worried for Zhao Fu. After the shock waves dissipated, Zhao Fu's body flew back hundreds of meters. His hair and clothes were in disarray, and there was blood at his lips, making him look quite wretched. A trace of anger appeared on Zhao Fu's cold and emotionless face. This meant that Zhao Fu was extremely angry. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a terrifying wave of divine power exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, forming a rainbow-colored shockwave that blasted out with power that seemed to be able to sweep away everything. In that instant, the surrounding space was completely shattered. A wave of divine power that seemed to rule over the heavens and earth covered the surrounding 10,000 kilometers. The temperature in the surroundings plummeted and countless flames dissipated. The surrounding celestial flames were suppressed and filled with powerful divine power. At the center of the shockwave, Zhao Fu's eyes gave off rainbow-colored light, and the 7 stars behind him gave off intense starlight. A supreme aura spread out, and even the heavens and earth had to submit in front of him. The celestial fire phoenix felt a wave of fear in her heart. She had never thought that she would meet such a terrifying person. She had thought that Zhao Fu was just a very powerful Emperor Heaven Realm cultivator, so she had been quite courteous when speaking to Zhao Fu. If an ordinary Emperor Heaven Realm expert dared to come here, she would not hesitate to attack and burn that person to death. She would not show any mercy. However, she had completely underestimated Zhao Fu's power. The celestial fire phoenix understood that Zhao Fu was quite angry, so she did not hesitate and turned and flew away, wanting to take the parasol tree and leave this place to avoid this terrifying person like Zhao Fu. Otherwise, she might be killed by Zhao Fu. At that moment, Zhao Fu slowly raised a hand as an icy voice sounded out, "Divine punishment." Chapter 2394. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a 10-meter-wide, rainbow-colored pillar of light shot down towards the celestial fire phoenix, bringing with it the power to pierce through the world. The celestial fire phoenix was given a big fright and dodged to the side, avoiding this terrifying pillar of light. That beam of light penetrated through the void in an instant. There was not the slightest bit of obstruction, and the bottom of it seemed to have merged with the void. Before the celestial fire phoenix could rejoice, boom, 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 massive explosions sounded out as colorful pillars of light, giving off destructive power, continuously descended from the sky. They were incredibly fast. At first, the celestial fire phoenix used her agility to dodge a few pillars of light, but as more and more pillars of light appeared, adding on how big her body was, she was unable to dodge at all. As such, she could only release a wave of power to form a red energy barrier. Bang! 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 The speed at which the light beams fell was still very fast. They constantly fell from the sky and hit the scarlet energy shield. The scarlet energy shield did not resist for long and was directly smashed by the many light beams. The 10 or so pillars of light pierced through the celestial fire phoenix's body, causing blood to fly everywhere as the celestial fire phoenix gave a pained cry. Compared to the celestial fire phoenix's 10,000-meter-long body, the 10 or so meter-wide pillars of light were quite thin. From a distance, the celestial fire phoenix looked as if it had been pierced by 10 or so pillars of light and was fixed to the spot. Boom! A shocking explosion once again sounded out, and under the immense pain, the celestial fire phoenix seemed to have gone mad. An incredibly searing flame erupted out of her body, and the pillars of light that had pierced through her body were easily destroyed by the flames. Flames from all directions wrapped around her body like a tide, forming a huge fireball. The fireball continuously spun as countless flames gathered. The fireball continuously spun and grew larger and larger, giving off a terrifying heat. The space around it seemed to be melting. The fireball did not show any signs of stopping, and it continuously spun and grew larger until it was hundreds of thousands of meters wide. It gave off a massive pressure and a terrifying aura that seemed to be able to incinerate the heavens and earth. The celestial fire phoenix went all out, using her most powerful skill, boundless incineration. Zhao Fu looked at the huge fireball in front of him. His expression was still cold, without any change. Powerful phantoms began to appear in the sky, densely packed together in the surroundings. There were at least 10,000 of them. There were men and women, old and young, beasts and birds. Every single one of them radiated with powerful divine power, representing every single deity. The terrifying power ripples from the descent of 10,000 gods seemed to lock down this region of space. Everything was in a state of stillness, and the scene was extremely terrifying. Boom! A sound that sounded as though the entire world had exploded rang out. That gigantic fireball exploded as countless flames with the power to incinerate the heavens and earth spread out in an instant. At that moment, space, time, and immortal energy all turned into nothingness, as though nothing existed. In the face of the flames that could destroy everything, Zhao Fu's expression did not change, nor did he move. The god spirit images burst out with powerful divine power. They stretched out their hands, and waves of divine power flowed out of their hands. Countless traces of divine power condensed in front of Zhao Fu and started to crystallize. The hexagonal crystals formed a massive, semicircular crystal barrier that gave off boundless divine power. Bang! The flames that seemed to be able to burn the heavens and earth slammed into the defensive barrier. The defensive barrier gave off a powerful 10,000 godly power to defend against that wave of power, and clear sounds rang out as countless cracks appeared on the massive crystalline energy barrier. In the end, the crystal barrier was able to block that terrifying wave of flames. Now, the surroundings were filled with countless flames, and everything was within the void. The spirit maiden looked at all of this with a look of shock on her face. Zhao Fu and the celestial fire phoenix's power was simply too terrifying. It was not something that could be possessed by mortals. The Chosen on the other side also sensed this frightening fluctuation, and they all had shocked expressions on their faces. Why are there such terrifying ripples coming from that direction? I feel like I can kill a saint with this terrifying energy wave alone. A figure appeared in their minds. Right now, there was only one person in that direction, and they had no idea what that person was fighting with for such terrifying ripples. They all wanted to see just how intense this battle would be, and they also wanted to see just how terrifying that person's power was. Now that they were on the other side, it would be quite difficult for them to go there. After using this attack, the celestial fire phoenix had used up almost all of its power, and its body had become quite weak. However, seeing that Zhao Fu was not injured at all, it felt quite afraid and did not dare to hesitate as it flapped its wings and flew forwards. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of chains could be heard as massive chains shot out from where Zhao Fu was and shot toward the celestial fire phoenix incredibly quickly, giving off a ferocious aura. The celestial fire phoenix had almost no power left, and facing the countless chains, it was unable to defend at all and was tied up in the air. Zhao Fu's body continued to float forwards and came before the celestial fire phoenix. He looked at it coldly and stretched out a hand. Boundless divine power flowed out of his hand, and a dangerous aura spread out. "Don't kill me," the celestial fire phoenix begged in fear. Hearing this, Zhao Fu withdrew his hand. If the celestial fire phoenix had not begged for mercy, Zhao Fu would have killed her. In this state, not only did Zhao Fu lose all of his emotions, but he also looked down on everything in the world. Even though Zhao Fu did not have any thoughts of destroying the world, anything that dared to anger him or obstruct him, he had the urge to destroy them. "Will you submit to me?" Zhao Fu asked coldly. The celestial fire phoenix had no other choice and said fearfully, "As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to submit to you." Swish! An air-piercing sound rang out as the ancient mirror on Zhao Fu's forehead shot out a ray of light into the celestial fire phoenix's body, and a powerful godly spirit restriction spread out within the celestial fire phoenix's body. The celestial fire phoenix did not dare to resist and allowed the restriction to spread within her body. Zhao Fu did not use his 6 desires demonic chi. The celestial fire phoenix could most likely take human form, and if he used the 6 desires demonic chi to control her, she would become even more powerful and submit to Zhao Fu both physically and mentally. However, Zhao Fu's emotions have been stripped away, and this included emotions related to love. Now, even if a peerlessly beautiful woman stood in front of him naked, Zhao Fu would not be moved. He no longer had any interest in women, nor did he have any interest in men. After subduing the celestial fire phoenix, Zhao Fu closed his eyes and sensed his surroundings. Chapter 2395. Zhao Fu sensed his surroundings, which was to see if this place was suitable for setting up a magic formation. This place was quite different from other places. Other places only had flames, but this place had such a large fire parasol tree. This parasol tree was no ordinary parasol tree. It contained powerful fire attributes and had powerful celestial energy, so it should be an immortal parasol tree. Just then, Zhao Fu had not just been fighting with the celestial fire phoenix. He had also wanted to take this place. After sensing, Zhao Fu once again opened his eyes, but the results were still quite disappointing. With the immortal parasol tree here, the space here had become stable and the laws were not chaotic, so he could set up a magic formation. However, because of the celestial fire phoenix's incinerate desolation, the space here had once again been destroyed, and it would take over 100 years for it to recover. Zhao Fu could not wait that long, so he could only give up on this place. However, this gave Zhao Fu a bit of hope. There was a place to set up a magic formation in the forbidden area, and if he set up the magic formation, he would be able to send large amounts of celestial chi into the heaven realm, causing the heaven realm to go through changes. Clanging sounds sounded out as the chains binding the celestial fire phoenix loosened, and the celestial fire phoenix flew back into the air. The celestial fire phoenix's body gave off countless flames that condensed together, forming a woman with fiery hair, fiery eyes, a peerlessly beautiful face, and a seductive figure. She only had a few feathers covering her important parts. Owner, the celestial fire phoenix bowed towards Zhao Fu in fear. Even now, she was quite afraid of the cold and emotionless Zhao Fu, and he gave off the feeling that he could kill her at any moment. Zhao Fu asked coldly, I want to know if there are any places in the forbidden area that are similar to this place. As a creature from the forbidden area, the celestial fire phoenix was definitely quite familiar with the forbidden area. With her leading the way, Zhao Fu would not need to continue searching. Hearing this, the celestial fire phoenix thought about it and replied, There are many places. Zhao Fu expressionlessly said, Take me there. The celestial fire phoenix replied, I'll take you there immediately, but owner, wait for me. Zhao Fu nodded. The celestial fire phoenix turned around and flew towards the immortal parasol tree. It came in front of the immortal parasol tree and shot out a powerful flame from its chest into the immortal parasol tree. The massive immortal parasol tree burned with countless flames, and it quickly shrank. In the end, it became a fist-sized fireball and fused into the celestial fire phoenix's chest. A parasol tree mark appeared on the celestial fire phoenix's chest. The celestial fire phoenix had been on the immortal parasol tree for so many years, and it had already refined the immortal parasol tree into a treasure. Not only could it continue to grow, but it could also be taken away at any time. It could even be used as a weapon. Following this, Zhao Fu followed the celestial fire phoenix to a place. There were massive fireballs in the air, looking like suns. They gave off scorching rays of light, and within each fireball was a powerful creature. Zhao Fu was not in a hurry to make a move. Its goal was not to kill them. It closed its eyes and sensed its surroundings. It found that this was not a suitable place to build a formation. It could only leave this place and head to the next place. In the second place, there was a massive fire snake. When Zhao Fu and the celestial fire phoenix spirit maiden arrived, it opened its eyes and looked at Zhao Fu and the others warily. It recognized the celestial fire phoenix, and it said in a cold male voice, Why have you brought people into my territory? The celestial fire phoenix looked at Zhao Fu before lightly harumphing at the fire snake and saying, Don't worry about what we're doing. You'd better behave now, or else my master will teach you a lesson. The fire snake's expression faltered, and it looked at Zhao Fu. It knew that the celestial fire phoenix's power was quite terrifying, and this person could tame it by himself. This meant that he definitely had even more power. Moreover, even if the celestial fire phoenix did not say anything, the fire snake could sense how terrifying Zhao Fu was. The divine power that Zhao Fu gave off was incredibly powerful. As such, the fire snake became well-behaved and did not do anything, wanting to see what Zhao Fu was doing here. Zhao Fu once again closed his eyes and sensed his surroundings, but he found that this place was not suitable for him. In the end, he could only leave this place and head to the next place. The third place was a massive flame vortex that continuously spun in the air and gave off a searing heat. It also had a massive suction force, and if anyone got too close, they would definitely be sucked into the vortex. Zhao Fu closed his eyes again and sensed his surroundings, but he found that the spatial laws here were more chaotic than in other places. As such, he could only head to the next place. After looking around, Zhao Fu finally stopped at a place. This place was not suitable for setting up a magic formation, but it had something that Zhao Fu wanted. There was a flaming person in this place that contained a powerful fire source energy and a very strong spiritual nature. Zhao Fu now had a yin-yang soul fire, a metal spirit bone, a wood spirit body, and a water spirit blood. He was only missing 2 attributes, which were fire and earth. If he could gather those 2 attributes, Zhao Fu would have gathered the 5 elements of yin and yang. As long as Zhao Fu devoured the fire person, he would be able to obtain fire spirit power. The fire person was a fire giant and looked like an elderly man. When Zhao Fu and the others arrived, he was still asleep and did not show any signs of waking up. Zhao Fu grabbed out with his hand, and countless traces of divine power gathered, forming a transparent crystal sword that gave off a terrifying wave of divine power. Following this, Zhao Fu's body flew forwards and quickly arrived in front of the flame giant. Just as he was about to slash out with his sword, a terrifying sword energy appeared. The fire giant suddenly opened its eyes and swung its arm, giving off immense power as it slammed toward Zhao Fu, seeming as if it could easily shatter a mountain. Zhao Fu blocked with his sword, and a semicircular barrier of light appeared. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the terrifying firearm was easily blocked by Zhao Fu. The fire giant looked quite startled, as if it had never thought that Zhao Fu would have such power. It then reacted and raised its other hand to attack Zhao Fu, bringing with it a ferocious gale. Zhao Fu stretched out his other hand and clenched a fist. A massive wave of divine power entered his arm, and he vigorously punched out. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the two fists collided, causing a terrifying gale to spread out. The massive fire giant was forced back a few steps, but Zhao Fu's body did not move at all. It was difficult to imagine a 10,000-meter-tall fire giant being forced back by a small person. In actuality, to Zhao Fu, this fire giant was not very strong and was even slightly weaker than the celestial fire phoenix. As such, he did not feel much pressure dealing with it. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the fire giant understood how terrifying Zhao Fu was. It exploded out with all of its power, causing massive flames to erupt around its body. Chapter 2396. The flame giant grabbed out with its hand, and flames continuously gathered, forming a spear made of flames. Boom! The flame giant gripped the spear and vigorously stabbed it towards Zhao Fu. The spear was incredibly fast and seemed to be able to pierce through space. It also gave off a heat that caused space to twist. Shing! Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and he vigorously slashed out with his sword. A massive rainbow sword light clashed with the spear, and a terrifying shockwave spread out, causing the flame giant to take another step back. The flame giant looked quite confused. He had released all of his power, but why was he still not a match for Zhao Fu? Scree! A massive phoenix cry sounded out as the celestial fire phoenix appeared behind the flame giant and turned back into its original form. Its massive claws gave off shocking power as they grabbed towards the flame giant. The flame giant was unable to dodge at all and was struck by the celestial fire phoenix's claws, causing a few massive wounds to appear on his body. Roar! The flame giant furiously roared and turned, and its spear gave off massive power as it stabbed towards the celestial fire phoenix. The celestial fire phoenix quickly retreated, avoiding this terrifying spear. Bang! Another explosion sounded out as the flame giant was sent flying back. Zhao Fu once again attacked. The flame giant got up and looked at Zhao Fu and the celestial fire phoenix with an unsightly expression before turning and running. The flame giant could not even defeat one of Zhao Fu and the celestial fire phoenix, let alone two. As such, the flame giant decided to run. Seeing the flame giant run, Zhao Fu did not move and sent a massive wave of divine power into the ancient mirror on his forehead. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ancient mirror shot out a massive ray of light that contained destructive power towards the flame giant. It was incredibly fast, and in just an instant, the flame giant felt quite startled and dodged to the side. However, he was unable to dodge, and his shoulder was pierced by the ray of light, leaving a large hole in it. The flame giant howled in pain. The celestial fire phoenix grasped this opportunity. Its body gave off countless traces of flames that gathered in front of it, forming a massive fireball that shot towards the flame giant. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the fireball exploded, and a shocking explosive power spread out, sending the flame giant flying back. It looked to be quite injured. Roar! The flame giant was furious to the extreme and roared as it madly swung its spear, sending out waves of terrifying energy towards Zhao Fu and the celestial fire phoenix, giving off terrifying sounds. An energy shield appeared around Zhao Fu and the immortal fire phoenix, blocking the incoming energy. Bang, bang, bang. The waves of energy were extremely terrifying as they continuously struck the defensive barrier, causing loud sounds to ring out. Some cracks also appeared on the defensive barrier. However, this ferocious attack did not last for long. The flame giant exhausted a large amount of energy and stopped. Next, it was time for Zhao Fu to counterattack. Clang, clang, clang. Sword hums continuously sounded out as Zhao Fu slashed out sword lights towards the flame giant. The sword lights contained terrifying power and slashed open wounds on the flame giant's body, causing it to continuously howl. Boom! Zhao Fu sent large amounts of divine power into the sword and vigorously slashed out, sending out a massive sword light that gave off world-destroying power and a thunderous aura as it slashed forwards. The flame giant blocked with its spear in fear and gave off a massive wave of flame power, wanting to defend against this terrifying sword light. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the flame giant was sent flying very far away and crashed into the air. It did not even have the strength to crawl back up, and the flames around its body became much dimmer and were not as powerful as before. Zhao Fu did not show any mercy and came to the flame giant's side and slashed off its head. The flame giant's massive body quickly collapsed, turning into countless flames and dissipating. Finally, a heart formed from flames appeared, and it was beating vigorously, giving off thumping sounds. This was most likely the flame giant's heart, and it contained all of the flame giant's power. The heart was 10 or so meters wide, and Zhao Fu grabbed at it. A massive wave of divine power brought the heart to him, and Zhao Fu sat cross-legged in the air, preparing to absorb the flame giant's heart. The celestial fire phoenix obediently returned to its human form and waited with the spirit maiden. The 10-meter-wide flame giant's heart floated in front of Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu's body gave off a suction force. The flame giant's power turned into ribbons that stretched into Zhao Fu's body. After the massive wave of flame giant's power entered Zhao Fu's body, it flowed into Zhao Fu's heart, and Zhao Fu's heart was enveloped by flames. Zhao Fu felt an intense pain in his heart, as if his heart was being roasted by flames. However, Zhao Fu's expression did not change at all. In the myriad god state, his sense of pain was greatly reduced. Flame giant's power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's heart, and gradually, Zhao Fu's heart also contained flame giant's power. As the flame giant's power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body, the flame giant's body became smaller and smaller. In the end, it disappeared, and all of its power flowed into Zhao Fu's heart, causing Zhao Fu's heart to burn with a fiery flame, and it contained a powerful spirituality. The heart continuously beat, and waves of flame giant's power spread to its peak. Many small flames appeared around Zhao Fu's body, giving off a powerful wave of heat. Zhao Fu had successfully obtained the fire spirit's heart. Now, Zhao Fu had the yin-yang soul fire, the wood spirit body, the metal spirit bone, the water spirit blood, and the fire spirit heart. Even though he was very happy, Zhao Fu's expression did not change at all. The myriad god state was incredibly powerful, and it was Zhao Fu's most powerful state. The myriad god power was also Zhao Fu's most powerful divine power, but it also made Zhao Fu lose a lot of joy. He could not be happy, nor could he feel pain, and it was quite boring. Zhao Fu retracted the fire spirit's heart's power, and the small flames around his body and the heat disappeared. His expression was still cold as he said, "Let's go." Following this, Zhao Fu followed the celestial fire phoenix to other places, but in the end, Zhao Fu still died, and there was no suitable place to build a teleportation channel. It seemed that the ability to stabilize space and repair laws was the celestial parasol tree's unique ability. It was a pity that this ability took a long time, and even if Zhao Fu went to another place, he would not be able to stabilize the space there in a short period of time. Now, Zhao Fu had checked all of the places that were similar to where the celestial fire phoenix was. If he wanted to find another place to build a teleportation channel, he would have to head to the core region of the forbidden area. Zhao Fu stood there and thought for a while before deciding to head to the core region. As Zhao Fu and the others got closer and closer to the core region, the temperature became higher and higher. Even the spatial laws melted, and Emperor Heaven Realm experts would be vaporized if they went in. Chapter 2397. Zhao Fu once again unleashed his divine power. Large amounts of divine power condensed and started to crystallize, forming a crystal defensive barrier that covered Zhao Fu and the others and resisted the terrifying heat. However, the three of them had not flown very far before the immense heat started to melt some parts of the crystal defensive barrier. Boom! An explosion sounded out as the 7 stars once again gave off 7 types of Emperor Star's power. With the support of the 7 Emperor Stars, the crystal barrier gave off a 7-colored light, resisting the intense heat and no longer melting. They continued onwards. However, as they got closer and closer to the core region, the temperature became more and more absurd. Even the barrier strengthened by the 7 Emperor Stars could not withstand the heat and started to melt some parts. Some of the heat had already seeped into the barrier, roasting Zhao Fu and the others' bodies. Even the celestial fire phoenix was unable to withstand this terrifying heat, and beads of sweat appeared on its body. Zhao Fu could only stop. He was too weak and could not enter the core region at all. Since they could not enter the core region, there was no value in exploring this forbidden area. As such, Zhao Fu said, "Let's go." The spirit maiden looked quite disappointed and lightly nodded. The temperature at the core region was so terrifying that it would be impossible to enter without spirit realm cultivation. They could only go to the other forbidden areas to have a look. Apart from this burning spirit forbidden area, there were 3 other forbidden areas. Zhao Fu hoped that he would be able to make some gains there. Otherwise, there would not be any other celestial world cracks, and he would have to find the half-celestial world. The celestial fire phoenix did not say anything and obediently followed behind Zhao Fu. The 3 of them left the burning spirit forbidden area and came outside. Zhao Fu retracted his 10,000 godly power and returned to his original appearance. Even though his aura was still quite powerful, it was not as cold as before, causing the spirit maiden and the celestial fire phoenix to feel slightly more at ease. Zhao Fu, which forbidden area are we going to next? The spirit maiden asked as a trace of smile appeared on her face. Zhao Fu took out a jade disc and looked at it before smiling as he said, "Since there is no suitable place to set up a magic formation in this burning spirit forbidden area, let's head to the next forbidden area, the ghost refining region." The celestial fire phoenix asked curiously, "Master, what are you trying to do? Why do we need to find a place to set up a magic array in the Forbidden Land? There are almost no such places in the Forbidden Land because the void of the Forbidden Land is in chaos and collapse." Zhao Fu replied with a smile, "I need a large amount of immortal qi. I can only look for it in the forbidden grounds formed by the cracks in the immortal world." Seeing that Zhao Fu's attitude had become much better, the celestial fire phoenix smiled and replied, "All right, I understand. Also, Master, that state you were in just then was quite scary. I didn't even dare to talk to you." Zhao Fu chuckled. "In that state, my emotions are almost stripped away. That's why I'm like that. Usually, I don't enter that state." The celestial fire phoenix nodded. "I forgot to tell you my name. It's Feng Wuya." Zhao Fu responded and brought the 2 of them to the next forbidden area. Boom! A terrifying saber light sent a pretty-looking young man flying back. The young man coughed up a mouthful of blood, but he did not show any signs of stopping and continued to run. There were 5 people chasing after him, and the one at the front was a handsome-looking young man holding a red saber. It was him who had just unleashed that saber light. They all had Western looks, golden hair, and blue eyes. The handsome-looking young man chased as he loudly laughed and said, "My good little brother, keep running. Do you think you'll be able to escape?" The pretty-looking young man looked furious and turned to look at the handsome-looking young man before continuing to run. The handsome-looking young man and his people continued to chase after him, and he gave a savage smile as he slashed out again. A saber light slammed into the pretty-looking young man's body, and the pretty-looking young man was once again sent flying. A gash appeared on his back, from which blood continuously flowed out. The pretty-looking young man endured the pain and continued to fly because he knew that if he stopped, he would definitely die at the handsome-looking young man's hands. The handsome-looking young man gave a mocking smile and did not panic as he continued to chase after him. Just as the handsome-looking young man was about to catch up to the pretty-looking young man. At this moment, Zhao Fu's group of 3 arrived here using the void ring and appeared in front of the pretty-looking young man. The pretty-looking young man was overjoyed when he saw this and said, "Hurry up and save me. I'm the holy son of the western half immortal world. If you can save me, I'll definitely give you a lot of benefits." Zhao Fu's group of 3 had just arrived, so they could not react in time. The handsome-looking young man ordered his people to surround Zhao Fu's group of 3, including the pretty-looking young man. "My good little brother, you're really stupid. You actually asked 3 people who are weaker than you for help. With your intelligence, I should have killed you." The handsome-looking young man mocked loudly. Hearing this, the pretty-looking young man reacted. He sensed that Zhao Fu's group of 3 were indeed slightly weaker than him. He did not think too much about it, as he would not let go of a chance to live. But now that the 3 of them were weaker than him, he was really going to die here. Zhao Fu sensed that the 2 young men were both in the Void Realm and its sacred bloodlines. They should be the holy sons of the half-immortal world. Zhao Fu did not know what grudges they had, but his goal was to go to the forbidden area, so he did not want to get involved. He said to the handsome young man, "I won't interfere in this matter. Let us leave." The handsome young man smiled disdainfully and said, "You think you're qualified to talk to me? If I want you to leave, I'll let you leave. If I don't want you to leave, I won't let you leave." Zhao Fu frowned. "Don't go too far." The handsome young man laughed and said, "So what if I go too far? I'm the holy son of the western half immortal world. I don't care who you are. If you kneel down and beg for mercy, I'll let you go." The pretty-looking young man looked around nervously and planned to find another opportunity to escape. Zhao Fu's group of 3 was no longer in his concern. However, he found that it was not possible for him to force his way out by himself. So he said to Zhao Fu's group of 3, "He won't let the 3 of you go. You'll definitely die here. If you help me escape, I'll take care of your families." He wanted Zhao Fu's group of 3 to stall these people and give him a chance to escape. The handsome young man looked at Feng Wuyi and Ling Ji and laughed lewdly. "That's not necessarily true. I'll kill the man, but I'll take the 2 beauties back and enjoy them." Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he looked at the group of people in front of him. "You're seeking death." Boom! Zhao Fu directly exploded out with a terrifying power and slashed towards the handsome young man. The handsome young man's expression changed. He did not expect Zhao Fu to suddenly explode out with such great power. Chapter 2398. However, the handsome young man did not panic. He stretched out a hand, and a massive wave of power flowed out, forming a semicircular barrier that blocked Zhao Fu's attack. The handsome young man said coldly, "Kill him, but leave the woman." Yes. The 4 people surrounding Zhao Fu were all Void Realm experts, and they obeyed. They gave off a massive wave of power and prepared to kill Zhao Fu. Boom! A massive wave of flames containing enough power to burn everything spread out. Everyone felt quite startled and quickly retreated, and a 10,000-meter wide fire phoenix appeared before them. Feng Wuyi said angrily, "Master, let me teach these people a lesson." Zhao Fu lightly nodded. The handsome young man looked delighted. He had never thought that Feng Wu Yi would be a phoenix, and such a powerful one at that. Now they were saved. Even if they could not defeat her big brother, they would be able to escape. The handsome young man's expression became serious. Scree! Feng Wu Yi gave a cry and spat out a searing flame that contained terrifying power. It spread out in all directions, causing the surrounding temperature to rise. Even though the other 4 people also had void realm cultivation, they were evidently not as strong as Feng Wu Yi. They released defensive barriers to defend against the terrifying flames as they retreated. The handsome young man released a defensive barrier, but successfully blocked Feng Wu Yi's flames. He was not weak at all. Boom! As soon as Feng Wu Yi stopped attacking, the handsome young man slashed towards her with his saber, sending out a massive saber light that tore apart space. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out an eerie and terrifying sword light containing shocking power towards the saber light. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the sword light and saber light collided, causing light to shoot everywhere and a shockwave to ripple out. Zhao Fu held the emperor-killing sword in one hand, while his other arm had become a ghostly claw. Zhao Fu had already used the reincarnation path's power. The handsome young man frowned. Zhao Fu gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. When the handsome young man saw that Zhao Fu was confronting his brother, and that the other 4 emptiness realm experts were being suppressed by the Fire Phoenix, he suddenly unleashed a burst of power. He transformed into a beam of light and dashed to the side. This was the best time to escape. His speed was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had already flown far away. Now, as long as he escaped back, he would be able to live. Moreover, he could report this matter to the higher-ups. The family forbade brothers from killing each other. At that time, his brother wouldn't be able to inherit the half-immortal world. If he couldn't become the inheritor of the half-immortal world, there wouldn't be many people who would support him and his status would fall. At that time, he would make his brother pay him back tenfold, and he might even become the inheritor. The handsome young man's goal was to become the successor. He wanted to kill his younger brother to reduce his competitiveness. Moreover, this matter had the support of a higher being. He would cover up the fact that he had killed his younger brother, but he had to do it covertly. Ever since he was young, he had never been able to get along with this younger brother of his, and he disliked him very much. Originally, he wanted to make fun of him before killing him, but he did not expect Zhao Fu and the others to appear. Now that he saw his brother trying to escape, he did not hesitate and said, "Don't worry about these people. Chase him for me." The handsome young man led his people and quickly chased after him. Zhao Fu wanted to stop the handsome-looking young man because the handsome-looking young man had angered him. However, Zhao Fu did not like the handsome-looking young man either. That person had used him to block him while he ran away. After thinking about it, if he tried to stop him, he would be helping the handsome young man. As such, Zhao Fu did not do anything. However, if he let the handsome young man go like this, Zhao Fu would feel quite displeased and wanted to chase after him to find an opportunity to teach him a lesson. Forget it, Zhao Fu. Don't get involved in this troublesome matter. It's more important to find a place to set up a magic formation, the Spirit Maiden said. Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought about it and gave up on chasing after him. This was a matter between Saint-tier factions, and it would be quite troublesome if he got involved. Feng Wu Yi returned to her human form, and Zhao Fu planned to throw out the void bracelet and head towards the forbidden area. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a beautiful woman with long silver hair and a graceful figure in a silver robe appeared in front of Zhao Fu and the others, giving off a massive aura. The beautiful woman's beautiful eyes fell on Zhao Fu's body as she asked anxiously, "Did you see anyone nearby?" Zhao Fu looked at the beautiful woman and felt that she looked like a handsome young man, and her aura was quite similar as well. Seeing how she was asking so anxiously, she was most likely his mother. She was most likely here to save that handsome young man. As mentioned before, Zhao Fu did not like that handsome young man. Just as he was about to say that he did not know, boom! Another massive explosion sounded out as a beautiful woman with a voluptuous figure and a haughty aura appeared. She was wearing a golden palace dress and gave off a massive aura as she smiled and said, "Fourth sister, they're just here to play. Don't be so nervous." She looked quite similar to the handsome young man and was most likely his mother. The silver-robed woman said coldly, "Third sister, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. The six of us have expended a large amount of our cultivation to help our husband break through to the celestial realm. Soon, he'll ascend to the celestial world, but you want to kill my son so that your son can become the legatee. How could I agree?" The haughty woman's expression became cold as she said, "You can't blame me for this. It's your son's fault for wanting to become the legatee. Moreover, you didn't rope in any higher beings to support your son." The silver-robed woman coldly laughed as she said, "Why can your son be the legatee, but not mine? I usually give in to you in order to not make things difficult for her husband, but do you really think that I'm easy to bully?" The haughty woman said disdainfully, "With my status and bloodline, what right do you have to fight with me?" The silver-robed woman looked furious and could not help but take out a saber as she charged at the haughty woman. The haughty woman coldly harumphed and did not show any fear as she took out a sword and charged at the haughty woman. Boom! Boom! Massive explosions sounded out as the two of them started an intense battle in the air. Terrifying shock waves continuously spread out, causing the space around them to continuously shatter. The terrifying auras caused people to tremble. "Zhao Fu, let's leave as soon as possible," the spirit maiden said worriedly as she sensed the terrifying shock waves. Zhao Fu lightly laughed. "Don't be in such a hurry. Perhaps they were both higher beings in the past, which was why their battle was so terrifying. However, they're only at the Void Realm now, so there's no need to be afraid of them." Feng Wuyi lightly laughed as she said, "I also want to see which one of them is more powerful. It's best if both of them are heavily injured. It's all because their sons are so annoying." Boom! The silver-robed woman sent a massive amount of power into the saber in her hand, causing it to shine with an intense silver light. She vigorously slashed out, and 10 or so saber lights left behind saber marks as they slashed forwards with shocking power. Chapter 2399. The arrogant woman sent some of her power into her sword, causing it to give off boundless sword chi, forming an enormous sword dragon. It gave off a massive roar and gave off terrifying sword chi as it rushed forwards. Bang! The saber light and sword chi dragon clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion that continuously tore space apart and light illuminated the surroundings. Both of them were sent back 10 or so meters by the shockwave. The silver-robed woman was worried that her son was in danger, and she said savagely, "Third sister, don't blame me if you continue to stop me." The arrogant woman said provocatively, "Then show me if you can defeat me with your power." Boom! The silver-robed woman could not take it anymore and exploded out with all of her power. An enormous silver aura flame appeared around her as she shot forwards, leaving behind a silver trail. Boom! The arrogant woman's expression was serious, and she did not dare to be careless. She exploded out with all of her power, causing her body to give off a golden aura flame. Wild gales continuously blew as she rushed towards the silver-robed woman, leaving behind a golden trail. Bang! 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 Explosions rang out one after another, and shockwaves spread out continuously. Space itself was constantly shattering and collapsing. The terrifying aura caused everyone's hairs to stand on end and their bodies to turn cold. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as both of them unleashed their most terrifying attacks, resulting in terrifying explosions. Both of them flew backwards and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Their faces were pale, and they were heavily injured. The arrogant woman's expression was sharp as she turned to look at Zhao Fu and said, "Boy, she no longer has any power. Now, she no longer has any power. Listen to me and kill her. I will give you everything you want." Now that both of them were heavily injured and did not have much power, in order to save her son, she could only choose to kill the silver-robed woman. Hearing that the arrogant woman wanted to kill her, the silver-robed woman's expression became cold as she said to Zhao Fu, "Now you understand how vicious she is. If you do as she says, you won't have a good ending. If you listen to me and kill her, I'll give you everything you want." The haughty woman hurriedly said, "My status is far more noble than hers. If you dare to kill me, the consequences will be dire. My mother is a member of another Saint class power. If you kill me, you'll be hunted down by 2 Saint class powers. But if you listen to me and kill her, I can guarantee that nothing will happen to you. You can rest assured." The silver-robed woman's expression was quite unsightly as she quickly said to Zhao Fu, "Don't believe her words or you'll regret it." Zhao Fu chuckled, "All right, stop fighting. I won't kill either of you, so you should give me everything I want." The 2 beautiful women were startled. They didn't understand what Zhao Fu meant. Clang, clang. 2 sounds of chains suddenly rang out. 2 chains shot out from a void where Zhao Fu was quickly binding the bodies of the 2 beautiful women. With a pull, the 2 beautiful women were pulled toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out his hands and hugged the 2 beautiful women. The 2 beautiful women felt quite startled, and they struggled as they said with cold expressions, "What do you want?" Zhao Fu chuckled as he said, "Your sons have offended me, so you need to pay for them." The haughty woman coldly laughed as she said, "You're simply too daring. Not only are we from a Saint class power, but we're also the women of a Saint class power's leader. Moreover, our husband has become an immortal. If you dare to touch me, I'll see how you die." The silver-robed woman tried to persuade him. "She's right. If you do that, you'll suffer a terrible fate. Our husband will definitely chase you to the ends of the world. If you let me go, I won't pursue this matter." Zhao Fu did not hold back as he played with the things on the 2 beautiful women's chests and lightly laughed as he said, "Immortals are very terrifying and Saint-class powers are also very terrifying. However, I've offended countless people. I'm not afraid at all, unless you can find me." The haughty woman and the silver-robed woman were shocked. They had already revealed their identities, yet this person still dared to do this. Moreover, he did not seem to be afraid at all. Just who was he? He was not afraid of immortals or Saint-class powers. Now, they had no power to resist at all. Just now, the 6 of them had broken through to the immortal realm for their husband, and their cultivation had fallen to the emptiness realm. They were originally almighty existences and could casually kill Zhao Fu. However, they were only at the emptiness realm and were heavily injured, which was why they were easily subdued by Zhao Fu. If they had known that Zhao Fu was such a person, they would have killed Zhao Fu long ago. Moreover, they did not know what kind of magic this kid had, but under his play, their faces flushed red and their bodies became powerless. The silver-robed woman panted as she said, "Don't do this. The consequences will be severe." Now that things had come to this, there was no turning back. Even if they let the 2 of them go, the consequences would be the same. Moreover, Zhao Fu wanted to vent his anger on them. They could only blame their sons for this. Everything had started because of them. Zhao Fu lowered his head and kissed the silver-robed woman. The silver-robed woman lightly struggled before responding to Zhao Fu intensely. The haughty woman's face flushed red, and she lightly harumphed. "Third sister, you really are a slut. You actually dared to be intimate with another man." Zhao Fu turned and kissed the haughty woman's fragrant lips, and the haughty woman responded even more intensely to Zhao Fu. Feng Wuyi stood at the side and blushed as she said to the spirit maiden, "Has Master always been like this?" The spirit maiden's face became slightly red, and she felt a bit helpless as she said softly, "Yes. He has this hobby, and he has never been able to resist other people's mothers or wives." On the other side, the handsome-looking young man had caught up to the pretty-looking young man. This time, the handsome-looking young man did not want to waste any more time, and he raised his saber, wanting to kill the pretty-looking young man. The pretty-looking young man begged in fear, "Third brother, please don't kill me. I can promise that I won't fight with you for the position of successor. I can even leave the half-celestial world. Please spare me." Seeing the pretty-looking young man begging for mercy, the handsome-looking young man felt quite suspicious. After all, they were brothers, but for the position of successor, the handsome-looking young man made up his mind and prepared to kill the pretty-looking young man. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a tall and slim woman wearing a white palace dress and giving off a dignified aura appeared. Seeing this woman, the handsome-looking young man quickly put away his saber and lowered his head as he called out, "Auntie." The person who had come was one of his father's wives, and she was the person that his father valued the most. She had an extremely high status in the faction, and almost no one dared to offend her. After all, offending her would only result in death. The pretty-looking young man was delighted and hurriedly ran to the woman's side as he said, "Auntie, third brother wants to kill me. You have to save me." Chapter 2400. The handsome young man hurriedly explained, "Auntie, it's not like that. I was just joking with fourth brother. He's my little brother, so how could I kill him? If I wanted to kill him, I would have done so already. Why would I still be alive?" The woman's expression was cold as she said, "All right, there's no need to say anything else. Your father already knows about this, so you can deal with it when you get back." The handsome young man's face became pale. He knew what the consequences were. Even if his father did not kill him, he would be severely punished, and he would not be able to become the successor. "Auntie, I know I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I beg you to plead with my father." The arrogant and handsome young man pleaded with the beautiful woman in the white dress with a fearful expression. The woman in the white dress looked at the handsome young man and sighed. "I understand. However, this can't happen again. As brothers, how could you kill each other for the sake of a successor?" Hearing this, the handsome young man let out a sigh of relief and smiled gratefully as he said, "Thank you, Auntie. I promise there won't be a next time." The handsome young man was quite displeased and said, "Auntie, you can't side with third brother. If it wasn't for the fact that I escaped quickly, I would have been killed by him." The woman in the white dress comforted him. "Auntie understands this and won't let you suffer." The handsome young man smiled and said, "Thank you, Auntie." The woman in the white dress asked curiously, "Where's your mothers? Didn't they get here before me?" The handsome young man and the handsome young man were quite confused. They didn't see their mothers. The beautiful woman in the white dress frowned and said, "Now, you two can go back. Your father and the others are all waiting for you. Take care of things together, and I'll go find your mothers." The handsome young man and handsome young man nodded, and the woman in the white dress flew off. "Bastard, scum, scum." At this moment, the arrogant woman was the handsome young man's mother, and she was cursing at Zhao Fu while doing it with Zhao Fu. The silver-robed woman was also immersed in it and moaned lewdly. The spirit maiden and Feng Wuye's faces were red as they watched the three of them doing it. The woman in the white dress flew over to find the other two women. After a while, the woman in the white dress still could not find the two women. Logically speaking, the two women should have been here a long time ago. So why couldn't she see them? Did something happen? After carefully sensing the surrounding void, the beautiful woman in the white dress discovered that there was a barrier in one of the void ruins. The white-robed beauty pondered for a moment before flying toward the barrier. After arriving before the barrier, the beautiful woman in white found that it was just a simple, soundproofing barrier that could be easily destroyed. She waved her hand, and a wave of energy burst out, creating a hole in the barrier, and the beautiful woman in white flew in. Immediately, the white-robed, beautiful woman stared in disbelief because she had heard the two women's extremely lewd voices. How could they make such sounds? Even when they were making love with their husband, they did not make such a sound. What were they doing now? She wouldn't do it with a man, right? Although they didn't get along very well, they had always loved her husband deeply, so they wouldn't betray him. Then why are they making such noises? The white-robed woman was shocked and carefully flew forwards. As she got closer and closer to the source of the sound, her heart began to beat faster and faster, and she became more and more nervous. Finally, he arrived in front of the ruins and saw the three of them in the middle of intense sex. Boom! The white-robed woman's mind felt as if it had exploded, and her mind went blank. She had never thought that this was true. The two of them had betrayed her husband and were so lewd. Following this, a wave of fury rose up in her heart, and she coughed up a large mouthful of blood. The six of them had broken through to the celestial realm for their husband, and their cultivations had greatly fallen. Now, they were still in a weak state. This anger caused the white-robed woman to cough up blood, and her aura and power became chaotic, as if she had been heavily injured. The prideful woman and the silver-robed woman also noticed the white-robed woman, and they looked ashamed. They did not have the face to see the white-robed woman, but their bodies became even more excited as they did it with Zhao Fu. Looking at the white-robed woman who had delivered herself to him, Zhao Fu did not hold back, and a chain shot out and tied her up. The white-robed woman struggled with all her might, but she was heavily injured and did not have much strength to resist. Her power was sealed by Zhao Fu, and she began to do it with Zhao Fu. In the end, Feng Wuyi looked at the three women's expressions of enjoyment and could not help but join in as well. Looking at Zhao Fu continuously doing it with her, she found that she liked it better when her master was like this than when he was cold. The spirit maiden's face was red, and she also joined in, making sounds that even she could not imagine. Within a tall and luxurious room, a handsome middle-aged man with a mustache sat at the very top, and he gave off the might of a celestial. There were three beautiful women sitting next to him. One had a slim figure and a cold expression, one had a voluptuous figure and gave off a flirtatious aura, and one wore a blue palace dress and gave off a gentle aura. Below them were a handsome young man and a delicate-looking young man. There were a few people standing on either side of them, both male and female. Their auras and appearances were similar to the middle-aged man's, and they were most likely the middle-aged man's children. The handsome young man knelt on the ground and said obediently, "Father, I was in the wrong this time. I was in the wrong this time and almost did such a disgraceful thing. Please punish me heavily, and I won't complain." The handsome middle-aged man coldly harumphed, "So you still know that you were in the wrong?" The handsome young man knelt on the ground and lowered his head, not daring to make a sound. Taking the initiative to admit his mistakes was the best option, and he hoped that his father would not be too angry. The delicate-looking young man looked like he was kneeling on the ground, but he was inwardly delighted. As his big brother, he was going to suffer this time. "Sierre, get up. This isn't your fault." Hearing his father's words, a smile appeared on the delicate-looking young man's face, and he stood up as he said in a hypocritical tone, "Father, I think third brother is in the wrong. I think third brother is wrong. Please don't punish third brother too much." The middle-aged man could immediately tell that the delicate-looking young man was quite excited, and he glared at him as he said with a trace of anger, "Everyone in this room is my family. I don't want to see you all kill each other for benefits and disregard your family. What's wrong with being united and harmonious? Also, when have I ever sided with anyone?" Hearing his words, everyone lowered their heads obediently, not daring to say a word. The flirtatious, beautiful woman next to him said, "Husband, don't be angry. They most likely won't do something like this again in the future." The middle-aged man breathed out and calmed the anger in his heart before saying, "I'll ascend to the celestial realms soon, and I'm not the only one who could decide the matters of the faction. There are other elders who will take care of it, so don't worry about it." Chapter 24:01. After I go to the celestial world, I will send down all sorts of celestial pills and celestial medicines to help your mother and you all become celestials. Only by becoming celestials will you have eternity and no longer have to fear any threats. Everyone replied in unison, "We understand." Looking at his children, the middle-aged man relaxed and announced the punishment for the handsome-looking young man. He would lose his rights as the successor and would have to reflect on his mistakes for 10 years before he could leave. If he did it again, his cultivation would be crippled and he would be chased out of the faction. No one would be able to interact with him, and the faction's elders would carry out this. The handsome-looking young man's face was quite pale, but this was the best outcome. There was no real punishment for him, so he immediately said, "Thank you, Father, for giving me a lighter punishment. I will definitely not do it again." The middle-aged man relaxed and thought of something. "Why haven't your mother and aunt come back yet?" The handsome-looking young man and the delicate-looking young man shook their heads. The middle-aged man felt that nothing had happened, so he did not continue to ask and continued to arrange things for him after he ascended to the celestial world. "Husband, I want more." The beautiful woman in the white dress wrapped herself around Zhao Fu and was completely immersed in it. She continued to do indescribable things with Zhao Fu. Half a day later, the arrogant-looking woman's face was red as she leaned into Zhao Fu's embrace. "You're really not afraid of death. If her husband finds out about this, you'll definitely die a horrible death." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "I already said that I'm not afraid. Let alone you. I've even enjoyed true celestials before." The women did not doubt this because they had talked to Zhao Fu in depth and understood how terrifying Zhao Fu's power and bloodline were. There was no need for Zhao Fu to lie to them. The beautiful woman in the white dress leaned against Zhao Fu's other side and said seriously, "Just who are you? How are you going to deal with us? Our bodies have been toyed with by you, and if we go back, our husband will definitely find out. I don't want him to suffer because of this. We've let him down this time." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Of course we'll go back together. Don't worry, I won't mistreat you. As for my identity, I'll tell you in the future." The silver-robed woman said worriedly, "If I leave with you, I'll worry about my son in the future, so I can't leave with you." The proud-looking woman said worriedly, "Now that husband knows that my son has done such a thing, he'll definitely punish him severely. I'm quite worried about him and don't want to leave with you." The white-robed woman sighed, "I don't want to leave either. Not only do I not want to be separated from my husband, but I've also developed deep feelings for him after staying in the faction for so long. But I'm really worried that my husband will find out about this." The arrogant beauty said, "Husband will ascend to the immortal world soon. At that time, it will be difficult for us to even see him. As long as we are careful, we should be fine. Big sister, let's not go with this fellow." Zhao Fu felt quite displeased. These three beautiful women did not want to leave with him. Could it be that they had some resistance to the 6 desires demonic chi? After all, the 3 of them were almighty beings, and their cultivation would recover very quickly. It was also at this time that Zhao Fu dared to violate them. Normally, when they saw such a terrifying almighty being, they would have to lower their heads and pay their respects. Zhao Fu thought about it. He had so many women that he could not even count them. If they did not want to leave with him, he would just let them be. Zhao Fu said, "Since you don't want to leave with me, I won't force you. I still have things to do later, so I'll be leaving first." The proud-looking woman said angrily, "You primal chaos, you want to leave after possessing our bodies? We don't want to leave because we have something to worry about. If we don't have anything to worry about, we can leave with you. Can't you understand us?" Zhao Fu said helplessly, "Then what do you want me to do?" The proud-looking woman thought about it and said, "You should wait here for a while. After our husband ascends to the immortal world, we can do it with you every day. How about that?" The silver-robed woman and the white-robed woman thought about how they would be violated by Zhao Fu every day, and their faces became red. The white-robed woman felt quite troubled as she said, "Aren't we letting down our husband too much?" The proud-looking woman teased as she said, "Big sister, don't say that. Let's not talk about this. You should know what it was like when you were under this guy just now." The white-robed woman's face became red, and she did not say anything else. However, Zhao Fu said, "No, I don't have time to wait for you. I have something important to do in the boundless void, and I have many things to take care of." The 3 women looked quite troubled. They did not want to leave, nor did they want Zhao Fu to leave. However, Zhao Fu had many things to take care of. In the end, Zhao Fu thought about it and agreed that he would come here to accompany them when he had time. The 3 women thought about it and could only agree. In the end, the proud-looking woman rode on Zhao Fu's body and wanted Zhao Fu to satisfy them. The next day, the three women completely indulged themselves and left all sorts of marks in the ruins. Their faces were red as they returned to their factions. In order to prevent their husband and son from discovering them, they said that they would go into closed-door cultivation for a few days, which made their husband and son feel quite strange. The middle-aged man completely believed in his wife and did not think too much about it. Moreover, he was mainly preparing to ascend to the celestial realm. As for his two sons, they would not think about what had happened between their mother and Zhao Fu. This could only be blamed on them. If they had not caused trouble for Zhao Fu, such a thing would not have happened. Zhao Fu, Feng Wu Yi, and the spirit maiden came to the second forbidden area, the ghost refining domain. It was said that these small celestial realm cracks were formed by battles between peerless experts. Because the burning spirit forbidden area had a peerless expert's arm that contained a terrifying celestial fire, the forbidden area was dominated by celestial fire. It was said that the ghost refining domain was created when two experts accidentally blasted open a celestial realm nether domain. The celestial realm nether domain had countless immortal ghost chi, and a few ghosts had also run to the lower realms. In addition, countless ghosts have been attracted by the immortal ghost chi and rushed here, forming such a terrifying forbidden area. Zhao Fu and the other two stood in the air, and the area in front of them was covered by a gray ghost chi. It was unknown how big it was, but it seemed boundless. Without any hesitation, Zhao Fu directly entered. The first feeling was a bone-piercing cold. Not only was the ghost refining domain filled with ghost chi, but it was also filled with a terrifying coldness. This coldness was not any weaker than the heat of the burning spirit forbidden area, and it was equally terrifying. Zhao Fu was not too worried here. Compared to the burning spirit forbidden area, Zhao Fu was more confident here. This was because Zhao Fu had the Ghost Race Emperor's Star, the 6 Paths Demon Images, and the 9 Paths Reincarnation Power that he had created. He was definitely more confident than he was in the burning spirit forbidden area. For example, that terrifying coldness, Zhao Fu could withstand it without a defensive barrier. Chapter 24:02 Arc. A series of howls sounded out, and not long after Zhao Fu and the others entered, savage ghosts started to howl and gave off powerful auras as they charged at Zhao Fu and the others. The scene was incredibly terrifying, and countless ghosts flooded towards Zhao Fu like a tsunami. They gave off massive sounds and shook the surroundings. Since this place was called a forbidden region, it naturally had its own terrifying aspects. Even the powerful Feng Wu Yi felt quite nervous. The spirit maiden was quite weak right now, and seeing such a terrifying ghost horde, her expression became quite serious. Zhao Fu walked forwards by himself, and facing the horde of ghosts, he did not show any fear at all. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as if something had been shattered. A towering ghostly flame erupted around Zhao Fu's body, and boundless gray lights spread out. The space around him seemed to be locked down by a formless power, causing everything to fall into a state of stillness and giving off an immense sense of pressure. The temperature of the entire world plummeted, becoming bone-chillingly cold. Countless people in this world could not help but tremble in fear. The left side of Zhao Fu's face became crimson red, making him look incredibly savage. He looked like a devil, and he had grown fangs. The pale white eyeball on his forehead became rainbow-colored, and at the same time, a thin opening appeared in Zhao Fu's eye sockets, giving off an unimaginably terrifying power. 9 gray runic circles floated out with Zhao Fu at the center, each larger than the last, and they were about 30 centimeters apart. Right now, Zhao Fu was like a ghost immortal, and the terrifying aura that he gave off alone overwhelmed the aura that the entire horde of ghosts gave off. The ferocious ghosts were now scared witless, and they quickly retreated. Some of the ghosts even knelt to the ground as if they had seen their ancestor. The heaven-toppling, ghostly aura instantly collapsed. After arriving here, Zhao Fu did not hesitate and directly entered Ghost Immortal mode. After coming here, he would definitely enter Ghost Immortal mode. So Zhao Fu decided to use Ghost Immortal mode in advance to avoid some trouble. Feng Wuye looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Before, when Zhao Fu had entered the Pantheon state, that power had been enough to make her feel fear. She had never thought that Zhao Fu would have such a terrifying power. Her master was simply too terrifying. It seemed that she hadn't followed the wrong person. Thinking to there, Feng Wuye felt very happy. The Spirit Maiden was also astonished. This was the first time she had witnessed the power of her Ghost Immortal mode. Zhao Fu flew forward, and Feng Wuye and the Spirit Maiden followed behind him. Giving off this Ghost Immortal aura that surpassed the heavens and earth, all the ghosts and monsters along the way immediately fled upon seeing Zhao Fu, not daring to stay for even a moment. Zhao Fu also caused a sensation in the Ghost Refining domain. Run, run. I heard that a Ghost Immortal barged into our place. It's simply too terrifying. No ghost can stop him. Are you serious? Why would a Ghost Immortal barge into our place? Also, we're ghosts, and we have the same attribute as that Ghost Immortal. What are we afraid of? You brat don't know how terrifying that Ghost Immortal is. It's simply beyond my imagination. Just a glance from afar scared me to death. Under his terrifying aura, even my ghost body collapsed. Have you also seen that Ghost Immortal? I also took a look from afar, and I was so scared that my soul left my body. This is the first time I've felt such terrifying power. Also, this Ghost Immortal has come with ill intentions, which is why so many ghosts are so afraid. That's right. I don't know which ungrateful ghost actually dared to offend Lord Ghost Immortal. Now that Lord Ghost Immortal has come knocking, that ghost will definitely die a miserable death. In any case, not a single ghost in the periphery of the Forbidden Area dares to stop him. It all depends on the ancient existences in the core of the Forbidden Area. Right now, everyone stay here obediently. Don't go and cause trouble. If anyone wants to die, then die. Don't implicate everyone. Zhao Fu brought Feng Wuye and the Spirit Maiden and quickly flew forward, directly flying towards the inner part of the Forbidden Area. There was no need to look around. There was no place Zhao Fu was looking for. As they got closer and closer to the inner part of the Forbidden Area, the huge immortal ghost chi became denser and denser. Some places almost crystallized, and the terrifying coldness became more and more terrifying, as if it could freeze a person. When Zhao Fu entered the Ghost Immortal state, his body could withstand the coldness, but Feng Wuye and the Spirit Maiden had some difficulty. The 9 rune circles around Zhao Fu spread out, emitting countless rays of light. They continuously rotated, forming a rune barrier that enveloped the 3 of them, blocking the terrifying coldness. Boom! Zhao Fu rushed into the inner part of the Ghost Refining domain without any obstructions. The various powerful ghosts in the Ghost Refining domain already knew of Zhao Fu. Because he had caused such a huge commotion outside, it was impossible for them not to know. Boom! A terrifying ghost with the head of a cow holding a huge iron fork appeared in front of Zhao Fu with a huge aura. Boom! A ghost general wearing gray armor with pure black eyes and a long sword at his waist, giving off a terrifying aura of killing and conquering appeared. Boom! An explosion sounded out as a 10 or so meter tall monster with 3 ghost heads and a powerful human body appeared, giving off shocking ghostly power. Ghosts giving off terrifying auras appeared in front of Zhao Fu and surrounded Zhao Fu. Their auras shook the surroundings, and the atmosphere became incredibly oppressive. Even those far away could sense it. The ghosts looked at Zhao Fu and found that Zhao Fu was not a Ghost Immortal and was only an Emperor Heaven Realm cultivator. He was not as terrifying as the rumors said. However, the ghosts did not relax at all. Their faces were still solemn, because even though he was not as terrifying as the rumors said, he was still extremely terrifying. Just the Ghost Immortal power on his body was enough to make them feel fear in their hearts. The massive ghost with the head of a cow and a human body gave off a deafening voice. Who are you? Why have you come here? Because of the terrifying aura that Zhao Fu gave off, no matter how many experts there were, none of the ghosts dared to act against Zhao Fu. As ghosts that lived in the forbidden area, they had celestial energy and understood some things. They did not fear not only Zhao Fu's power, but also Zhao Fu's identity. This ghost immortal power was far more terrifying than the power they controlled. Moreover, they could sense the aura of the origin bloodline, and seeing him charge and so brazenly, they did not dare to act against Zhao Fu. They could tell that Zhao Fu was someone from an unimaginable faction, and even the existences in the depths of the forbidden area did not dare to offend such a person, let alone them. As such, they did not act. The massive ghost with the head of a cow and a human body spoke as courteously as possible. Only Zhao Fu would receive such treatment. If an ordinary holy son dared to do this, they would not even know how they died. Chapter 24:03. Zhao Fu's expression did not change at all as he looked at the many powerful ghosts giving off terrifying auras and surrounding him tightly, making it seem as if they were going to destroy the heavens. The voice was extremely eerie, as if it had come from the depths of hell. I'm going to find a place where the void is more stable to set up a spell formation. Hearing Zhao Fu's voice, the powerful ghosts felt a chill in their hearts. This person was indeed terrifying, but after hearing Zhao Fu's words, they were all dumbfounded. He had charged into the forbidden area with a monstrous aura just to set up a spell formation. Was there a mistake? The ghosts had thought that Zhao Fu had come to take revenge or forcefully take away their treasures, which was why they had gathered together. Finding a place where they could set up a spell formation was not beneficial to them at all, so the powerful ghosts were able to relax. The massive Minotaur said, "That's not a problem, but this is a void formed by the celestial realm, and it's always in a state of collapse and nothingness. It's almost impossible for you to find a place to set up a spell formation." Zhao Fu could not leave just because the Minotaur said this, so he said, "I'm going to look around first." The Minotaur smiled and said, "Do whatever you want. It won't affect us anyway." The other ghosts did not try to stop him. Because of the conflict of interest, they definitely did not want to offend a terrifying person like Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not say anything else, and flew to the side with Feng Wuyi and the Spirit Maiden. The powerful ghost did not dare to stop him, and opened up a path for him. Feng Wuyi and the Spirit Maiden felt as if their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Not only were these powerful ghosts slightly more powerful than them, but there were so many of them that they were not a match for them at all. If it wasn't for Zhao Fu, they would have died if they were surrounded by so many ghosts. Now, they were behind Zhao Fu, looking at Zhao Fu's back with their beautiful eyes. They worshipped Zhao Fu in their hearts. It was his aura that had suppressed these powerful ghosts, making them not dare to attack him or even offend him. Many of the ghosts stood there and watched as Zhao Fu and the others left. Some of the ghosts could not help but speak up. "That kid is way too arrogant. He doesn't put us in his eyes at all. I don't even know who he is. I've never felt such terrifying power before. The way I see it, that kid must be a fairy from the immortal plane. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to possess this power. This power is not something that can be nurtured in the mortal world." Yes, I feel the same way. Also, I feel that his origin bloodline is far more terrifying than ordinary origin bloodlines. Sigh, I feel that it's a pity to let him go. His bloodline and power are so terrifying, and if I devour his flesh and blood, I'll be able to obtain great benefits. Perhaps I'll also obtain that terrifying power. Haha, if you want to die, you can go alone. Do you think you can kill this kind of person who descended from the immortal realm? Not to mention you alone, even 10 of us would be able to kill him. Moreover, he doesn't need anyone's help to blast you into pieces. I feel the same way. The strength that that person displayed is not his true strength. There's still some kind of great power hidden within. All right, everyone disperse. There's nothing else to do. Also, if he really is here to find a place to construct a teleportation formation, then ignore him. If you discover that he has other intentions, immediately inform us. I also feel that such a terrifying person has to be quite powerful. Everyone, please be careful. Zhao Fu flew around with Feng Wuyi and the Spirit Maiden, searching for a suitable place to construct a teleportation formation. Some powerful monsters silently followed behind them, keeping an eye on Zhao Fu's every move in order to prevent Zhao Fu from doing anything else. Along the way, all of the monsters gave way to Zhao Fu. In this ghost immortal state, Zhao Fu really could do as he pleased. In the end, just as the powerful monster had said, there was no suitable place to construct a teleportation formation. Zhao Fu thought about it for a moment before turning his gaze toward the core region of the forbidden area. Now that he had the powerful ghost immortal state, his attributes matched the forbidden area's attributes. Zhao Fu could not enter the burning spirit forbidden area's core region, but perhaps this place could. As such, Zhao Fu brought the others and flew toward the core region. After the monsters following behind realized Zhao Fu's goal, they were greatly startled and hurriedly spread the news. The forbidden area's core region was completely different from the outer region. It was hundreds of times more dangerous than the outer region, and the monsters there were all from the celestial world. Normally, they did not dare to take a step close to it. After hearing the news, the monsters all hurried over in shock. By now, Zhao Fu, Feng Wuyi, and the Spirit Maiden had already arrived before the core region. There seemed to be a gray barrier of light ahead, and the ground around it had already crystallized. The cold and gloomy energy that it gave off was extremely terrifying. Zhao Fu's body also felt extremely cold. It could be seen how powerful the celestial ghost chi in the core region was. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu gave off an enormous ghostly flame, and a massive amount of ghostly energy spread out and flowed into the talisman barrier. The talisman barrier gave off a world-shaking power, and it covered the three of them as they flew forwards. Many powerful ghosts watched from afar. They did not have the guts to get close to this place. The talisman barrier flew forwards, and at first, it was able to defend against the terrifying celestial ghost chi. However, as it came closer and closer, the celestial ghost chi was like sharp knives that cut apart the talisman barrier. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as an ultimate ghost immortal power spread out from Zhao Fu's body. In that instant, the entire region was locked down, and countless traces of celestial ghost chi retreated in fear. Within the talisman barrier, Zhao Fu gave off a massive ghostly flame, and the eyeball on his forehead quickly twisted, giving off an eerie, cold, and destructive aura. Powerful ghost immortal power flowed into the talisman barrier, causing it to give off massive power. It no longer cracked. It became even firmer. 6 gray stone doors that were 3 meters tall and gave off ancient auras appeared in the 6 directions of the talisman barrier, giving off a feeling of suppressing everything. The powerful monsters watching from afar looked incredibly shocked. They could sense that terrifying power from so far away, and their bodies slightly trembled. It seemed that this person was an incredible figure within the ghost race. Bringing with him this aura, Zhao Fu continued to fly towards the core region. Countless traces of terrifying celestial ghost chi started to retreat in fear, but even more celestial ghost chi started to gather, forming a massive shockwave that blasted toward Zhao Fu. Chapter 2404. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the terrifying shockwave slammed into the 6 stone doors, causing them to tremble and crack as the immortal ghost chi spread out like water. Zhao Fu continued onwards and was about to enter the forbidden area's core. Suddenly, a massive head stretched out from the immortal ghost chi in the sky. It looked like a little boy and had 2 short horns. It had gray-white skin, a pair of pure black eyes, and 2 canine teeth. The head did not give off any terrifying aura or might, but it gave off an indescribable feeling, as if it had transcended the restrictions of Tao and could not be sensed. Seeing this head, The ghosts in the distance were so scared that their souls almost ran out. Their faces were filled with terror, and they did not hesitate to turn and run as if they had seen something incredibly terrifying. Even after running far away, the ghosts still looked terrified, and their hearts thumped wildly. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. The 10,000-meter-tall ghost with the head of a minotaur and the body of a human was quite cowardly, and it said in a daze, "My tortoise, how do we draw out such a terrifying existence?" The three-headed monster's expression was one of fear, and he was covered in cold sweat. "That scared me to death," he said. "I almost died of fear. I never would have guessed that the kid wouldn't even enter the core area of the restricted area, and that he would attract a terrifying existence." A white-haired elder looked terrified, and his body was still trembling. "Yes, I've long since heard that there are existences of this level in the depths of the forbidden area, and now I've finally seen one." A fat, black-furred ghost said nervously, "We've already run so far. That existence won't chase after us, right? Should we run a bit further?" The Minotaur said, "There's no need. It's not like we drew it out, so its attention won't be on us. I'm quite curious what will happen to that boy when facing such a terrifying existence." The white-haired old man's expression was solemn. "That's hard to say. After all, that brat's identity might be very terrifying. That sort of existence might have some misgivings, but if they had no misgivings, that brat would definitely have died there." The three-headed monster nodded in agreement and said, "That's right. It's his fault for drawing out one of the most terrifying existences in the Forbidden Area's core. That's a celestial-level ghost, a ghost that descended from the celestial world. The head that stuck out was the head of an immortal. It was also one of the most terrifying ghosts in the Forbidden Area. It was a ghost that descended from the immortal world, which was why all the monsters were so scared. Now, they did not dare to go back and take a look. They did not know what had happened there. He turned his gaze there. Zhao Fu stood there nervously, beads of sweat dripping down his body. Almighty existences could easily kill him, and immortal existences could easily blast him into pieces. At the same time, Zhao Fu was just as terrified as the other monsters. This was the first time Zhao Fu had encountered a celestial-level existence, and it was unbelievably powerful. Feng Wuyi and the Spirit Maiden were also incredibly terrified. Seeing such a terrifying ghost, their bodies slightly trembled. The head in the sky looked at Zhao Fu curiously and said in a childish voice, "Who are you? Why do you want to barge in?" Hearing its childish voice, Zhao Fu felt that it was a child and did not seem to be pretending. It did not seem to have any ill intentions, so he let out a sigh of relief and replied, "I'm the Emperor of a world, and I want to go into the Forbidden Area to see if there are any suitable places to construct magic formations." The little boy replied, "Oh, but why do you have such powerful ghost celestial power? And it's even more powerful than mine. You're not a ghost celestial, and you have many Emperor stars and an initial stage bloodline. You also have a lot of fate." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite startled. All of his information had been revealed, and in front of such a powerful existence, nothing could be hidden. By the side, Feng Wuyi listened to the little boy talk about Zhao Fu and felt quite shocked. She had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so terrifying. In the end, the little boy said, "It's the first time I've seen someone as special as you. You're hiding so many terrifying things, and you're not from the celestial world." Zhao Fu did not know how to reply and said humbly, "Senior, I've only had slightly better opportunities. My luck is only slightly better. There's no way for me to compare with Senior." The little boy happily laughed and said in a childish voice, "I'm not Senior. I'm still young. I'm only 10,000 years old. Don't call me Senior. Call me by my name. My name is Mingjio, and I come from the underworld immortal world." Zhao Fu felt quite awkward. He was already 10,000 years old, and he was still calling himself young. Zhao Fu did not dare to reveal such an expression, and he obtained some information from the little boy, his name, and that he came from the celestial world. Zhao Fu did not know what race the little boy was from, but he was only this old after 10,000 years. Most importantly, he already had celestial-level power. Zhao Fu was just someone from the lower world, so he could not imagine just how terrifying the celestial world was or what terrifying things there were. Zhao Fu replied, "Oh, my got it. My name is Zhao Fu." In front of the little boy, Zhao Fu could not hide any secrets and could not deceive him, so he could only tell him the truth. The little boy smiled as he said, "I'll remember your name. You said that you wanted to come here to find something. Do you want to come to my house to play?" Even though my mother doesn't like people from the lower world, you're so special. I'm sure she won't dislike you. Right now, Zhao Fu did not dare to go in. Even though this little boy was a celestial, he only had the mind of a 4 or 5-year-old, and if he was not careful, he might die at his hands. Moreover, his mother was not as easy to fool as him, and he did not know his mother's personality. Perhaps she would do something to him. Finding a place to construct magic formations was important, but Zhao Fu was not willing to trade his life for it. As such, he tactfully refused. "There's no need. I've already searched many places here, but I don't have any at the core. I'll go elsewhere." The little boy looked disappointed. In order to avoid angering him, Zhao Fu immediately took out all sorts of toys and interesting things to give to the little boy. With the little boy's strength, Zhao Fu would not be able to give him anything precious. However, if he gave him toys or interesting things, he would be quite tempted. Seeing these things, the little boy was indeed quite happy. He accepted them all and smiled as he said, "You can come to my place to play when you're free." Zhao Fu nodded. The little boy took all sorts of things, and his head shrunk back into the core. Zhao Fu and the others let out sighs of relief and relaxed. This was the first time they had faced an existence of this level, so they did not dare to be careless. Otherwise, they could die at any moment, and not everyone could endure this pressure. Chapter 24:05. Zhao Fu and the other two came out unscathed. The powerful ghosts looked incredibly shocked, and they were now even more certain that Zhao Fu's identity was incredibly terrifying and could scare ghosts to death. Otherwise, the terrifying ghosts from the celestial world in the depths of the forbidden area definitely would not let him off. At the same time, they felt quite fortunate that they had not done anything to him, or else they would have died a horrible death. Moreover, they were quite curious about Zhao Fu's identity. Why did a ghost celestial not dare to kill him? Many powerful ghosts quickly chased after Zhao Fu, and one of them was the powerful ghost with the head of a minotaur. Even though he had spoken very politely to Zhao Fu, he was still afraid of offending Zhao Fu, so he quickly chased after Zhao Fu. The other ghosts also did the same. "Sir, please wait. We were in the wrong just now, so we came to apologize," the minotaur called out as he caught up to Zhao Fu. By now, Zhao Fu had returned to his normal state and stopped, looking at the polite and friendly ghosts. Even the most ferocious ghost squeezed out a trace of a smile and lightly laughed as he said, "It's fine." Seeing that Zhao Fu had returned to his normal state, the ghosts inwardly let out a sigh of relief. If he was still in his normal state, they would have to be more careful. Moreover, after Zhao Fu returned to his normal state, his aura and power were not as terrifying as before. However, the ghosts did not dare to underestimate Zhao Fu. "This is a small gift. Sir, please accept it." The ghosts took out treasures and smiled as they looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked around and found that there were many good things, so he waved his hand and put them all into his space. Seeing Zhao Fu accept the gifts, the ghost smiled even more and felt much more relaxed. The minotaur asked with a flattering smile, "My lord, may I ask who you are?" Let us ghosts worship and admire him. Zhao Fu looked at these ghosts and understood what they were thinking. Of course, he would not tell them who he was, and he lightly laughed as he said, "Are you sure you want to know? My identity is an earth-shattering secret. Most of the people who knew about it died miserably." This scared the monsters so much that they immediately became obedient and did not dare to ask about Zhao Fu's identity. After all, no matter how terrifying Zhao Fu was, they would believe him. The Minotaur ghost smiled and continued to ask, "Then may I ask what that existence that came out of the forbidden area's core did to you, my lord?" Zhao Fu said with a smile. "It's nothing. He also asked me to go to his house. I still have something to do, so I declined." The ghosts were in an uproar. They thought that this person's identity was indeed terrifying. Even the ghost immortals had to be polite to him, so naturally, they didn't dare to say anything about Zhao Fu. The Minotaur ghost gave a flattering smile as he said, "Since Sir has something to do, we won't disturb Sir. In the future, if Sir has time, please come and visit us." This was definitely something that only Zhao Fu could do by himself. He had taken a place that was filled with danger and that no one dared to go near, and made it a place that anyone could come and go as they pleased. Most importantly, all of the ghosts here seemed to welcome him with open arms. A big reason for this was the ghost celestial mode. If it wasn't for his other attributes, these ghosts would not have been so close to the celestial. The ghost celestial mode was Zhao Fu's second most powerful mode. It fused the 6 paths of reincarnation into the path of reincarnation, then fused it with the celestial mode. The 6 paths of reincarnation did not belong to Zhao Fu and instead belonged to the Heaven Awakened world. Zhao Fu was looking forward to the 9 paths of reincarnation growing, so that the 9 paths of reincarnation would belong to Zhao Fu. If the 9 paths of reincarnation were fused, the ghost celestial power would be even more terrifying, and it would not be any inferior to Zhao Fu's 10,000 godly power. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded, and the ghosts happily left. Zhao Fu also left this forbidden area and headed to the next forbidden area. The next forbidden area was called the Chaotic Time Forbidden Area. This forbidden area's space-time was extremely chaotic, and it was very difficult for other creatures to survive here. After entering, they would either be torn apart by chaotic spatial flows or fall into time vortexes and die. Zhao Fu came to this forbidden area and sensed it. The space here was indeed even more chaotic than the other 2 forbidden areas. He had not been able to find anything in the other 2 forbidden areas, so this place was even more impossible. However, Zhao Fu still entered and did a simple search around. The space here was even more chaotic than the outside world, and there were no creatures here. There were spatial cracks and time vortexes at all times, making it quite dangerous. Zhao Fu thought about it. This place had already been explored, and it was almost impossible for there to be a place to build a spirit formation. Therefore, Zhao Fu decided to give up here and did not want to waste time here. Next was the final forbidden area. The final forbidden area was formed by a large crack in the immortal world. Not only was it many times larger than the other forbidden areas, it had existed for a very long time, and no one knew when it had formed. The immortal chi here was the densest, and there were all sorts of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Many saint-class powers liked to send people here to train. Of course, they were only people, and their own people could only stay at the periphery of the forbidden area. They could not go deep into the forbidden area or the core area. This was because among the many forbidden areas, this forbidden area was more dangerous than the others, especially in the innermost depths. There were unimaginable dangers hidden there, and even immortals could lose their lives there. This was also Zhao Fu's last hope. If he could not find a place to build a spirit formation here, then he could only go to the uninhabited half-immortal world. The chances of finding an uninhabited half-immortal world were incredibly slim. Not only were there very few of them, but many other large and small factions were also searching for them. Who knew how long it would take for Zhao Fu to find them? Zhao Fu would search for a while, and if he could not find one, he would have to give up and see if there was anything he could do. He could not just stay here and do nothing. Apart from this, Zhao Fu had many other things to take care of. After dealing with this, he had to awaken 2 Emperor Stars and go to the spirit domain to solve the 6 desires celestial art. Now, he only had 2 Supreme Emperor Stars left. After awakening them, Zhao Fu would have 9 Emperor Stars, and he would feel that his fate would be complete. When that time came, Zhao Fu would have even more power and fate, and he would be able to face the upcoming disaster and the invasion of another great thousand world. As for the 6 desires celestial art, Zhao Fu's body was actually going through some changes. Because it had only started not too long ago, the effects were quite weak, and if one did not sense it carefully, one would not be able to sense it. However, as time went on, the changes would become greater and greater. Zhao Fu had been putting this matter off, but he definitely had to take care of it. Zhao Fu did not want to become a woman or someone who was neither male nor female. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.